This show is rated GJK. Extreme exposure warning. This show contains graphic images of Jordan's failures, constant critique of Jordan's game and legacy, graphic images of Zesty Jeffrey lies being exposed. This show may be offensive to Michael Jordan fans and Zesty Jeffries alike. Content is restricted to true basketball fans only.
Bolstered by Michael Jordan's record-setting performances, the Chicago Bulls grabbed the first two games in their opening round playoff series with Cleveland. The home court proved to be a charm. Chicago held all the cards, while the stunned Cavaliers found themselves headed toward a speedy elimination. With their backs pressed firmly against the wall, the Cleveland Cavaliers returned home facing a stiff challenge. But the youthful Cavs proved worthy of the task. With impressive balance and poise, they won the next two games, forcing today's showdown in a series where there's truly been no place like home. Today in Chicago, the season is on the line for the Cavaliers and the Bulls. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. It's game 5.
Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom. Welcome. I am Ajani the Exposer, and y'all have now been exposed by the Exposer. I appreciate it. And enjoy. I am called Ajani the Exposer. You guys are being exposed today.
Your opinion, I guess.
Move on from it. It was the 90s. That's it, bro. Move on from that. You don't know history. You don't know basketball. You just told me I'm stupid. But look how stupid you look because you don't know
I know all this
basketball. You don't know history. You don't know GMing. You don't know schematics. You don't know coaching. You don't know scouting. You don't know drafting. You don't know nothing but that Michael Jordan is great because the media said do that. So told you to say that. I know that is recorded, and you are officially being exposed by the Exposer, and you're going to sit there like a man and take this just like Buddy did 2 weeks ago.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Hey, get your numbers out. I had to get my numbers out.
Here's Ajani.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, Ajani the Exposer. It's another wonderful Friday night. Thank you for joining me right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Y'all know what to do to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. We also going live straight off of the FYF Sports Debate. And shout out to everybody over there on the FYF Sports Debate channel as well. We are the GOAT James Kingdom platform. I'm Ajani the Exposer, and this is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. Tonight's episode, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be about 1988. Again, I've been doing my research, and Michael Jordan does have a choking moment in the playoffs, and he has probably the biggest and most epic of any superstar in NBA history. And like I do most of the time is prove it right here on GOAT James Kingdom. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel, because we don't run from it here in GOAT James Kingdom. We actually attack the GOAT debate head on. So another Friday Night Exposure is here for y'all, and we about to have a great show. Thanks for everybody that's already here. I see y'all in the comments. Salute to y'all. Peace and blessings again, because it's about to be fun. The Zesty Jeffries, this is not going to be the show for you. I guarantee it. It will not be the show for you. So go ahead and get on the horn. Start calling the MJ police, because y'all are going to need the MJ police after tonight. Because what I got for you guys is pure basketball. Because that's all we talk here in GOAT James Kingdom. It's the game of basketball. And we're going to show you guys how Michael Jordan played throughout the whole entire 1988 playoffs. So y'all just saw the intro of the Game 5 Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Chicago Bulls. An epic matchup. CBS Sports. Supposedly y'all saw this. This was 1988. I was 7 years old. I never saw this until I got on YouTube and started watching it. So now I'm going to provide y'all with the information that I found because, again, these Zesty Jeffries are liars. They are true liars. Shout out to you, King John. I see you in the building. Ishmael, I also see you as well. Thank you for joining me. Again, y'all, this is the GOAT James Kingdom platform. It is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We are going live right off the GOAT James Kingdom channel and the FYF Sports Debate channel. Shout out to everybody that's here and supporting what we do here because, again, we are also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Discord. We're all over the place. We're on Twitter. You guys know what to do. You can look up FYF or you can look up GJK. Either way, you're going to find basketball when you look up both channels. So here's what we're going to do for y'all tonight. All right, we're going to let some of these Zesty Jeffries have an opportunity to defend themselves. But for right now, I'm about to give y'all an epic Michael Jordan rendition, footage, whatever y'all want to call it, because Michael Jordan 1988 season is supposed to be considered the greatest season of all time. That's what we always hear. The Zesty Jeffries love to bring it up. They love to talk about how tough defense was. And how Jordan, they would play Jordan. They would never let Jordan just shoot the ball. They were always on top of Jordan. Jordan was just remarkable. He was able to overcome all these obstacles. Well, we all know in 1988, Michael Jordan was the league MVP, the fake defensive player of the year. He was all NBA first team, all defensive first team. He was the all-star starter and the all-star game MVP. Plus, he won the slam dunk contest, which they love to talk about. He was also the scoring champ, plus the fake steals titles winner. So all of these things accumulated. The Chicago Bulls had won 50 games that year. They were third in the East. Everybody was hyping Michael Jordan up. They took the wings off the sneakers and they put the jump man on the sneakers. 1988 changed everything for Michael Jordan. This was his year. He beat Magic for the MVP. He was out there doing phenomenal things. He averaged 35 points per game. These Zesty Jeffries know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. So when the playoffs start, Michael Jordan goes ham. We all know that. The playoffs start, Michael Jordan goes ham, and the Chicago Bulls win the first two games. Based off of Michael Jordan's great 50-point performances. He was averaging over 50 points the first two playoff games. Then he goes into Cleveland. He scores 38 and 44. But basically, Michael Jordan's averaging over 40-something points per game, close to 50 points per game in the first four playoff games. The series is tied 2-2. They got to go back to Chicago now. It's a 5-game series, y'all. We're playing 1900s basketball. They had 5-game series then. I know a lot of y'all don't know that, but that was what they were doing back in the 1900s, right? So this was what Michael Jordan was doing. So he was on fire. Everything was legit, ready for Michael Jordan. So there was no excuses, right? So let's go ahead and see how the Cleveland Cavaliers decided to play Michael Jordan after Michael Jordan was doing all of this in game 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see how they were playing him in game 5 so that they can try to beat the Chicago Bulls.
The one thing when you play Jordan, you notice how they're backing off defensively. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside. You notice how they're backing off defensively. You notice how they're backing off defensively. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside.
They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside.
But if you get to the middle, we're going to all be there to give some help. And they do converge, and Harper makes an excellent steal.
Second foul for Doherty. Jordan with a fake goes to the hoop and draws another foul. He'll shoot 2. He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy. He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy.
He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy
that Lenny Wilkins will use defensively against Michael.
So you heard that. First off, they said they were playing off Michael Jordan. Like, go ahead and shoot your little jumpers. Obviously, that wasn't working because Michael Jordan went off that whole series. We know Michael Jordan averaged 45 that whole playoff series, right? But we also heard them say that the strategy was to be physical on Michael Jordan, right? We're going to see how physical they were on Michael Jordan. We're going to really see all this physicality that these old heads be telling us that existed back in those days. Yeah, Twin Man, I thought of course they never gave Michael Jordan space. They never watched Michael Jordan play, so how are they going to be able to tell you what happened during a Michael Jordan basketball game? They're upset at me for actually watching Michael Jordan play. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Michael Jordan going ham. Again, I don't know why y'all mad at me. Michael Jordan's playing great. This is what he was doing all season long. This is the Michael Jordan we all saw. This is the Michael Jordan y'all tell us about. Right? But let's go ahead and see how much good defense they were playing or not playing in Cleveland versus Michael Jordan.
We have two players out here that were free agents that are on the court right now for this Cleveland team, and that's Craig Ehlo and Mike Sanders. And you have to tip you had some people that have that type of courage and keep going after it.
Jordan will go to the line as Ehlo.
Now on this play, they'll try and keep Mike.
See, right here, they don't even double team
Jordan out of the middle. Didn't matter.
Literally, they gave Michael Jordan space to roam the court, do whatever he wants. We can see why Michael Jordan was able to score 45 points per game. Now, mind you, the Cleveland Cavaliers had the second best defense in 1988. The Chicago Bulls had the number one defense in 1988, right? So they were doing actually a good job because Jordan actually started off that game very slow. They were losing that game. They were getting their butts kicked in reality. The Chicago Bulls were not in this game. They were down 18 points early in this game. Jordan started the game off very slow, right? So they were playing that kind of defense on Michael Jordan in the game 5. So we see all this deep. They talk about physicality, all this other stuff. Another lie. They want to sit here and tell us. Remember last week when Mr. Wall Street, Brandon, tried to tell us about they never call illegal defense? Well, what was this?
Two-man game, Corzine and Paxson double-teamed. Illegal defense called against the Cavaliers. Craig Ehlo was the guilty party. That's the first one. That's a warning. Second time on Wilkins' crew will result in a technical foul as Charles Oakley returns to the line.
So they obviously be calling illegal defense. I watched over 8 to 9 or close to 10 basketball games in the 80s, the complete games, and I've seen illegal defense called in basically all of them. And some of the games, they got the technical, just like this one here. So again, the 80s basketball was completely different basketball, but Jordan was lighting them up. Eventually, Jordan got good, and Jordan started scoring the game. The Bulls made a run in the second quarter, and by the end of the half, they were only down 5 points after being down 18. But the Chicago Bulls were trying to make a run in the third quarter, and this is what Michael Jordan was doing when the Bulls were trying to make a run in the third quarter. This is Michael Jordan we talk about now.
9 rebounds for Charles Oakley, and Jordan overthrows Pippen, who winds up 4 rows into the press sector. Price missed, and Williams has the shot blocked.
Jordan got that one.
And Pippen can't hold on. So 2 fast break opportunities by the Bulls goes by the boards. And it's 72-68. You've got to admire the Cavaliers. They're poised. 18-point lead cut to 1. Chicago tied it up, and then Cleveland scored 4 in a row to keep their lead and get the ball back on a turnover.
That's the third turnover for Jordan
in a row. Williams hits 12 on the shot clock. Jordan has it knocked away by Harper.
Watch him pull up for the 3.
Price with Paxson in his face hits the three-point shot, and it's 104-101. 33 seconds to go. Price hit it with Paxson in his face.
It don't look good for the Chicago Bulls. Trust me, you see them up 104-101. They were up 104-101 because of Scottie Pippen, right? Because we got people like Mr. Wall Street Cats here who wants us to talk about Scottie Pippen. But at the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls wouldn't have won that game if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen. Because as you heard, Jordan was turning over the ball left and right. Jordan was playing bad. Yeah, he was putting up his shots and he was scoring because you see the type of defense they were giving him. So he was able to get up there and score his baskets. But outside of that, Jordan was playing bad. And I wasn't the only one that noticed it as I was watching it. Let's go ahead and let the commentator tell you, because again, this was objective basketball speaking and knowledge back in the days. This ain't that ESPN fake analytic talk that you see, the round table people and all this other nonsense. This was real basketball back then. Only real basketball fans was watching basketball back then. But watch what the commentator says about Michael Jordan's play.
Winding down to 2 minutes to go in the first half. Elo, he has hit 7 big points. He has 8 in the ball game, but 7 came after the Chicago Bulls had made a great run.
Again, the same thing. Jordan looking to go to the weak side. He's going to try and power the ball to the middle.
And stolen by Harper with 2 minutes to go. 94-90 Chicago.
Now here's the value of a Rory Sparrow, that veteran who knows how to get the ball to Jordan.
Jordan loses it going in, but it's last touched by Nance.
I can't remember Michael Jordan losing the ball or making as many bad passes in a ball game as he has today.
He may say when it's over, win or lose, that it's one of the toughest games he's had to play.
So you heard it from the commentator right there. Even him, he was saying that Michael Jordan was fumbling the ball. He was playing bad. The Bulls did not have a chance in that game if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen. In fact, Scottie Pippen got put in the starting lineup that game. They didn't even tell Scottie Pippen until the game started that he was going to be in the starting lineup. And it was obviously because you had Phil Jackson, Tex Winters, and Doug Collins sitting there thinking to themselves, how are we going to win this game 5? Michael Jordan's going off for all these points, but we're still 2-2. We need this game 5. It was an important game. They really wanted to win this game. Chicago had not won a playoff series in a very long time. So they put Scottie Pippen in the starting lineup because they noticed the woes. This was the woes. They were talking about it in the series. This is what Michael Jordan was averaging prior to coming into game 5. And they needed somebody or someone to help Michael Jordan, like y'all would say, to win. But y'all say Scottie Pippen wasn't there. But those are the lies that the Zesty Jeffrey tells us. Because in this game, Scottie Pippen was there. And if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, the Bulls don't win this actual game. And Jordan chokes in the first round against the Cleveland Cavaliers after having a remarkable season in 1988. But again, you guys never believe me here in GOAT James Kingdom. I'll just go ahead and let the commentator explain it to you and let you watch it for yourself because like y'all said, it's all about the eye test.
CBS Sports welcomes you again to the exciting 1988 NBA playoffs. After 3 periods of play, in which the winner will move on and the loser goes home. The deciding game of this first round, the Chicago Bulls outscored the Cavaliers 10-1 to take their first lead, and they did it with Michael Jordan on the bench. They have rallied from 18. Mike Sanders goes in and scores, and it's a 1-point game. We have talked about Cleveland. Michael Jordan hit only 2 of his first 6 from the field midway through the second period. Since then, 9 of 12 and 33 points. But Scottie Pippen has been the other man for the Bulls this afternoon.
Well, right now, he is the man, the way he's performed in this second half for this Chicago team.
96-92 Chicago, under 4 minutes.
So you heard him. They clearly said it. The Chicago Bulls went on a 10-1 run to end the third quarter without Michael Jordan on the floor. Now, mind you, that went on directly after Michael Jordan did those 3 straight turnovers that we just saw. So Michael Jordan was coughing up the game because they actually got the game tied. Michael Jordan hit a jump shot and the game was tied at 66-66. Then Jordan went on and did those turnovers and gave the Cavaliers the lead again. And that's when Scottie Pippen and them took over when they put Jordan on the bench and they ended up taking the lead at the end of the third quarter for the first time in the game because of Scottie Pippen. In fact, in this elimination game where Michael Jordan's supposed to be the man, Scottie Pippen ended up being the player of the game. This is Scottie Pippen's first start in his NBA history. They put him in a playoff game, a game 5, and he became the player of the game. This is the game Jordan's supposed to step up. But we saw Jordan couldn't do it. He couldn't handle the pressure. He couldn't handle the moment. He was doing silly turnovers. And they needed a way to get their team to get this victory. And Scottie Pippen was the man. They went to Scottie Pippen. That's what they did. They put Scottie Pippen, the baby Scottie Pippen that y'all talk about. This is what Scottie Pippen was doing. They were calling Scottie Pippen the future of the NBA. They said that he would be three different positions. He could play the small forward, a lead guard, or the off guard. That's what they were talking about when they were talking about Scottie Pippen. So again, Michael Jordan would have choked the first round in 1988 if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen big time performance against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because obviously Michael Jordan can go off for 38 and 44 points and the Bulls still lose. He went off for 39 in game 5, and if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, they would have lost that game. Those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. That's the actual facts. But the Chicago Bulls did win that game. So that means Michael Jordan didn't choke. That wasn't the problem. Michael Jordan gets his first playoff victory. The Chicago Bulls move on to the next round. And Wall Street Brandon, the Cleveland Cavaliers won 42 games that year. So your boy was struggling against a 42-win Cavaliers team who only had one All-Star that year. They had no 20-point per game score. Nobody on that team averaged more than 20 points per game. So again, the Chicago Bulls was supposed to win that series. They did win that series. But we all see how Michael Jordan played under pressure. If you want to watch that game is available on 1980s Sports Discussion on YouTube. There's a whole channel of a bunch of 80s clips of a bunch of 80s sports, and they have that game available to you. That's where you can find that. But if y'all want to be upset at FYF for anything, right? Be upset at FYF for allowing us to have the clip of this particular series, because at the end of the day, this is Michael Jordan's true epic failure.
In Game 1, the success of the Detroit Pistons and Coach Chuck Daly was evident in the smiling face of Joe Dumars. It was Dumars who had a big defensive night and contained the explosive Michael Jordan. The Pistons were able to hit on all cylinders as they drove to a one-game lead in the series. In Game 2, Michael Jordan was a study in determination. He would make Detroit pay dearly for its success in the opening encounter. Jordan was complimented by Sam Vincent, who picked up the offensive slack as the Bulls romped through the Silverdome to even the series at one game apiece. Now, Chicago has home court advantage in what now can be called a best-of-5 series. Detroit has shown they can slow Air Jordan down, but can they ground him?
All right, y'all. That's the big epic one right there, ladies and gentlemen. This is 1988 Eastern Conference semis. Chicago Bulls versus the Detroit Pistons. The first time they face each other. Michael Jordan went ham against the Pistons during that season. He averaged over 38 points per game. He was phenomenal against the Pistons the whole regular season, even though they were only won 2 out of the 6 matchups. But the Bulls, again, was said to have been that team. It was that time. Michael Jordan was ascending. It was this time. This is what y'all talk about. This is the Michael Jordan that y'all love to say was all that great Michael Jordan, right? Again, this is the Michael Jordan they want to tell us about right here. This guy right here. This is the guy. This is what he was doing against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs and what he did against them in the regular season. Michael Jordan went crazy. He averaged 45 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, shooting 56% from the field, 92% from the free throw line. He didn't even take a three-pointer. He didn't have to because they would just let him get the lane, as y'all can see. Taking 30 shots per game. Dominating. This is the Michael Jordan that they tell us about. This is the great Michael Jordan right here. This is all the myth and mythology of Michael Jordan right here before you guys. Right here. This is what we do best here in GOAT James Kingdom. But this is the Friday night exposure with the exposer. All right? So we're going to see, is that the Michael Jordan that's going to enter this playoff series versus the Detroit Pistons? Is that what we're going to watch? Is that what we're going to see? Right? Because Michael Jordan has to step up. He's been doing it all year long. Why shouldn't it stop? To start off, it seemed like Michael Jordan was rattled because this is what happened to Michael Jordan early in the game.
Just underway. 10:25 to go opening quarter. there's a fight right there. Lambier and Jordan. Yes, indeed. There are punches thrown. Oakley was coming to the defense of Michael Jordan that time. This all happened down right around the foul line area. Michael Jordan gets a tee. How about that? Offensive foul on Bill Lambier, setting that pick on Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan probably did not like the severity of the forcefulness of the pick. Technical foul then on Michael Jordan. Let's watch it again. Here's the pick and Lambier's reaction. It's a moving pick here. See Michael trying to get around the pick. Now you see, well, all that is right there is.
So you see it right there. I don't know what made Michael Jordan get all crazy and throw an elbow and get off, physical with Bill Lambier. Bill Lambier got called for the illegal offensive screen, right? So it just moved down the court, right? I heard that supposedly that's what they do. They play physical. Why is Jordan upset that he gave him an illegal screen? He got called for it. So Jordan seemed a little rattled from the beginning. But all these myths about how it's physical back in them dimes and they play so horrible they play so physical back then. It was like brutal basketball. Well, why the hell they were calling silly fouls like this?
It isn't like he's not getting good shots. Right there we got another foul on Mahorn. That time, as Oakley was trying to go down in there to a defensive standpoint, Rick Mahorn caught him and sent him right out of there, and Oakley complained right away. Watch in the middle of this. Here comes Oakley coming down in here. There it is right there. You see, and Earl Strom did see it, and he made the call.
Look at that. Look what they called. That was supposed to be tough, hard-nosed basketball from the 80s. That was just a little shove. I heard that's what you could do all the time back then. That they don't call touch fouls. What was that? Oh, and let's not forget, they're always going to make sure that they call this in 1980s basketball.
Fourth in the league in fewest turnovers during the course of the season. Just uncharacteristic. Illegal defense right now. They caught Oakley way down inside. And anytime that your player is above the top of the circle, the defensive player must be above the foul line area.
You heard what the man said. Whenever your man's above the key, you must be above the foul line area. So that means you must be out the paint. Like we've always told you, the paint could easily be cleared in that era by the rules, not by skill. Today, the paint is cleared because of the skill. There's too many good players that could shoot, so you can't sit in the paint and leave some guy open for a three-pointer and you're going to get blown out the building. Back then, the rule wasn't, it didn't matter if the guy could shoot. You need to go out there and stick him. You need to get outside of the paint. So all these lies about illegal defense was rarely called. Those are lies. They called it throughout. That was on the Chicago Bulls. That wasn't even on the team that was sticking the Chicago Bulls. So it shows you how the defense and how the game was back then. That's why these S.D. Jeffries are just liars. They're pure liars, bro. I'm telling you, that's what they do best. They lie. But that's what we do best here on the Friday night exposure with the exposer. All I do is expose these zesty Jeffries, right? But we're here to talk about Michael Jordan. So we see Michael Jordan's rattled. We see what's going on. Let's see how the Detroit Pistons play defense on Michael Jordan in comparison to what we always hear how they play him, right? As far as being just physical with him, no kind of strategy. They just beat him up all day long and push him all day long, hand checking, all this other nonsense, right? And also in contrast to how the Cleveland Cavaliers played him in just the series before, where Michael Jordan went off. So let's watch the defense of the Detroit Pistons.
Will they make them? They are averaging 38% of the two games against Chicago. Strom did see it, and he made the call. Vincent passes on the shot. Horace Grant takes it, doesn't read the same. When's the last time you can recall almost 9 minutes ago in the game at Jordan scoreless? He is so far. He's only taken 2 shots. Here's Sam Vincent. Razzing the Pistons to play perimeter basketball, which is not a strong suit. Sally goes down to the double on Jordan. Ah, great pass. And they misfire. Here's the watch how quick Detroit, how they're getting to Michael Jordan. 2 guys on him right away, so he must pass the basketball. They've switched now. There's another steal. Benny Johnson, 3 on 2. And the lead is back to 15. It was 14 at the half. Chicago cut it to 10. That's as close as they've been since the opening moments of the game.
There's your double team.
Rodman and Johnson on Jordan. Oakley. That was for 2 and land.
So obviously we can see they weren't playing Jordan physical. They were playing Jordan good defensively because they were a good defensive team. I'll always give you that. But remember, the Chicago Bulls is also the best defensive team in basketball at that time. They have the league MVP. They have all of that. There's none of that under Detroit Pistons. They don't have an all-defensive player on their team. They don't have an all-NBA player on their team. They have one all-star, and they had one 20-point-per-game scorer, which was Danton. And he averaged just 20 points per game. So at the end of the day, Jordan's strategy was obviously don't let Jordan roam freely with the basketball, which is why you have good on-ball defenders, because that makes it hard for you to move with the basketball. And then on top of that, we're going to double you. So they obviously played a different style of basketball defensively versus Mike than the actual Cavaliers, even though the Cavaliers had an also solid defensive team as well because they were second in the league. All these teams were in the top defensive teams in the league, all three of them. So at the end of the day, what we're talking about is Michael Jordan having to try to figure this out. Now, mind you, this is game 3. Michael Jordan went off in game 2 against them. He's been going off against them the whole season. He scored 59 the last game of the season versus the Detroit Pistons. So he went ham. And I believe that's the night supposedly Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars set out to like 5 in the morning talking about Michael Jordan because he went ham for like 50-something points in them. I believe that's that game. I didn't see it. I was 7 years old. At that time, I was more worried about G.I. Joes, the Smurfs, the Muppet Babies, Transformers. Like, that's what I was more worried about. I wasn't really worried about watching the Chicago Bulls, but I do have uncles, and I do remember them watching these games as far as them getting excited to watch Michael Jordan play, because back then you couldn't see the Bulls play. Only the playoff time was up. But as we can see, the Chicago Bulls need Michael Jordan to step up, and he was not stepping up in this game as well. He started off the game slow. They even talked about it here. They were talking about how Jordan was averaging 42 points per game going into this game, and early on in this game, Jordan had 0 points. The crowd was hyped. This game was really, really exciting for the Chicago Bull fan base and everybody. Even Doug Collins, he got a tech. He was all excited. It was a game that everybody thought the Chicago Bulls were going to ascend because their superstar had ascended. Michael Jordan had reached that plateau. So it's time for everybody to follow suit. That's what we hear about Michael Jordan, that he wills his team to victory, that he has the killer instinct. This is what we hear all the time. But he starts off the game slow. And he doesn't get off against the Detroit Pistons in this game 3. He really doesn't. And this is something that I've always wanted to talk about. I've always wanted to bring this up. This is how they were playing Michael Jordan, to the point where Michael Jordan started doing stuff like this.
A little bit now. You know, he struggled in game 2 because he slightly turned his ankle.
Jordan, a Detroit fan, they've hit 4 of their first 5 field goals. Jordan for 2, no. The Chicago crowd getting a little restless. Here's Jordan quickly to double team with Thomas, and he still hasn't fired.
It needs them both.
Quick double team on the baseline, now a triple, and Jordan is 0 for 5 from the field.
That was
Jordan cuts through left side, gets the pass from Sparrow, turns around, puts it up, no.
Detroit coming out and trapping Michael Jordan right at half court. So they're going to force him to give up the basketball.
Jordan with the jumper, no. Tip. Jordan. No, sir. Coming up next, Dallas and Denver in the NBA. Game 3 of that series from Reunion Arena. Rodman and Collins wanted a foul called on Dennis Rodman, didn't get it.
So you heard what the man said. Jordan started off 0 for 5. He literally wasn't getting himself involved in the game. There was times, and I thought it was weird because there was times and moments I'm like, why are the Bulls not going to Michael Jordan? Like, they were purposely going away from Michael Jordan, right? And this is what Michael Jordan was resulted to doing because, again, like we told y'all, Jordan really couldn't shoot like that. So he was jacking up a bunch of shots in this game because they weren't giving him the driving lanes, because they were making sure they were double teaming him so that if anything, he had to give up the ball to his teammates, which they were all bricking, or he had to figure out a way to maneuver. But they weren't fouling him or doing anything physical. Jordan couldn't figure nothing out against them. This is the game they figured out Michael Jordan, what to do against Michael Jordan. Right here, this game 3. So here it is, Michael Jordan is supposed to be the man. You heard him say the crowd is being restless and the team doesn't look good. Their star doesn't look good. And Michael Jordan is basically being punked by the Detroit Pistons. Because other than Michael Jordan taking these weird shots from the outside and not being able to get to the rim and not showing us this dynamic Michael Jordan that y'all say always shows up when it's time, and this is a crucial moment. This is the time to take the series. You're at home. This is what you're supposed to do, and you start playing like this?
Utah's Chuck Daly looks on.
Well, Chuck Daly naturally very concerned. He's just hoping that the shooting slump is over.
Pick and roll, Corzine spots up, really didn't roll. He is in. Clemson.
Horace Grant has been playing excellent basketball.
Jordan has yet to score. Dumars. Vincent, no.
Detroit and Sally scores. No, it's funny for you and me, but not for Doug Collins.
I don't think Doug would laugh. Yeah, right. Corzine, Grant, Sellers, Jordan, and Rory Sparrow has come into the lineup for Sam Vincent.
Today, he's giving and taking right from that defense. Reading it beautifully.
Johnson and Thomas switch. Vincent fishes low.
The entire game is being played perimeter, and we're seeing no penetration and no low post play.
Horace Grant. Jordan sets up left side. Now he'll work the baseline. Sparrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the killer instinct y'all say Michael Jordan had. That's supposed to be the guy that's supposed to step up big and do all this other nonsense and help the Bulls win an NBA championship. And mind you, this was 1988 Michael Jordan. This is the league MVP Michael Jordan. He's making these passive passes. He had opportunities there where they were not doubling him. And all he had to do was get past his initial man to get a good shot off. He couldn't do it. They literally were punking Michael Jordan, telling him he didn't know where to go. They knew he didn't want to go left. They knew that, and they knew when he was going to pass the ball to what teammate. So Michael Jordan was fumbling the ball. He was playing back. He scored 24 points in this game. Michael Jordan only scored less than 25 points in that whole NBA season 6 times. Out of over 80 NBA games, Michael Jordan only scored less than 25 points only 6 times. He decides to do it in a playoff game versus the Detroit Pistons, where everything is right there available for him. After he was putting up phenomenal numbers, and he comes out and give you this dud. But not only does he give you this dud, he repeats it with another dud. I excused him for game 3 when I found out this information. Because again, this is not the first time I talked about this. I couldn't wait to discuss this. I couldn't wait. As soon as I saw Lamont give me the actual game footage for a 1980s Detroit Pistons Chicago Bulls game, I was all over it. Because this was me 2 years ago on the GOAT James Kingdom show. This is the infamous meltdown for Michael Jordan, okay? 1988. He was the league MVP, defensive player of the year, scoring champ, steals leader, all defensive team first team, all NBA first team, NBA all-star starter. Michael Jordan goes into the playoffs. He averages 45 points in the first round versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then he shows up against the Detroit Pistons, who only have one all-star, which is Isaiah Thomas. And what makes it even worse is that they win game 2 in Detroit. Michael Jordan scores 36 points. They go back to Chicago. Michael Jordan puts up 24 points in game 3, 23 points in game 4, and 25 points in game 5. Literally a meltdown. But they don't call that a meltdown because it's 24 points. But if Michael Jordan was averaging 36 points per game in the season, and he was averaging 36 points per game in the playoffs, because he was averaging 45 just the series before, and now he's only averaging 27 and giving you 20-something points per game, that's a meltdown. That's facts. That's just facts. If we're going to sit here and gloat about this great performance for Michael Jordan right here versus a team that had considered a better defense than the Detroit Pistons, at that time, again, you guys are giving the Detroit Pistons credit for stuff that they were not. They were not that team at that time. The Chicago Bulls were supposedly ascending. So you're telling me Michael Jordan gives you this, and then he comes around and gives you this, and we're just supposed to say, no, it's okay because Michael Jordan averaged 27 points per game, although every category we go to besides his rebound, he was under, that he underperformed. Even his free throws, Michael Jordan was shooting 79% from the free throw land. He was just shooting 92% the series before. That had nothing to do with being physical. He was taking 30 shots per game the series before. He went to taking less than 22 versus the Pistons. Michael Jordan, in the 6 games that he played against the Detroit Pistons, had 83 free throw attempts. In the 5 games, he only had 38. He wasn't aggressive enough. He wasn't the killer. He didn't have the will. He couldn't handle the pressure of people staying in front of him and telling him to shoot, like y'all claim GOAT James went through. But when GOAT James was going through this, he wasn't the league MVP. You guys bring up 2007. Was LeBron James the league MVP in 2007? Was he all NBA first team, all defensive first team? Was he the fake defensive player of the year? Michael Jordan in game 3 gives you 24 points. Then he goes into game 4, gives you 23 points, and in game 5, then give you 25 points. He averages 24 points per game. Michael Jordan only had 9 games the whole year where he scored less than 25 points. In fact, the whole 12 games that he played against the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Pistons that whole season, he only scored less than 25 once against them. And that was a 20-point game against Detroit. And in reality, he didn't have no games under 30 points besides that 20-point game and a 29-point game. Michael Jordan was averaging 38 points per game in the regular season in 1988 versus Detroit Pistons. That went down to 27 points per game in the playoff where it matters most. But y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all do not want to talk about that. Michael Jordan was known for choking versus the same team 3 years in a row. And let's not even bring up 1989, because in 1989, Michael Jordan had another epic failure versus them. It got so bad for Michael Jordan that it was things like this on SI for Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan couldn't play well against the Detroit Pistons. He kept choking against them. Those are the facts. Michael Jordan should have been in the playoffs. I mean, in the finals well before 1991. He should have been there. He got punked by a team that didn't have nothing. Y'all going to bring up players that were not those players that y'all say, because, again, y'all didn't watch the games. Y'all didn't watch the games. This is the guy, Joe Dumars, I believe, made his first all-defensive team in 1988. And I believe Joe Dumars, and a matter of fact, I know for a fact, Joe Dumars has less all-defensive selections than LeBron James. So don't come bring up all these players that this is the GOAT. This is your GOAT, Michael Jordan, on SI cover being shown as somebody that can't get past the Detroit Pistons because all they do is double him and make sure he don't get no lanes and shoot the ball from the outside. Michael Jordan choked tremendously against them in 1988. That was a horrible job by Michael Jordan. He didn't step up to the plate at all from all the expectations, everything. He didn't meet nothing. They literally shut him down. This is what they made him do in that game. And that game 3, Michael Jordan was 8 of 20. He only took 7 shots in the paint, and 5 of them were layups. But he didn't do well because they forced him to shoot his shot, and he couldn't make it because Jordan was not that good of a jump shooter. We keep telling y'all that. We already showed y'all that in the other games that we watched in this season, that over 50% of Michael Jordan's shots were in the paint or at the rim with a layup or a dunk. So Michael Jordan was not that great from the outside. I've always told y'all that, especially outside of 20 feet. So that's all the Detroit Pistons did. All this lies about being physical, these are all zesty Jeffrey lies. It didn't exist. This was the infamous 1988 Jordan season. And he was punked by the Detroit Pistons. He actually gave the Detroit Pistons the name. If the Detroit Pistons don't get past Michael Jordan, we never talk about the Detroit Pistons, but there is no bad boy Pistons. They're only bad because they beat Michael Jordan. That's how bad Michael Jordan was in 1988. That's how epic Michael Jordan was. But like I said, I always speak the facts. I don't just sit here and lie. Michael Jordan in 1988 choked against the Detroit Pistons. All his numbers were under. And it was no different throughout the 80s. Because when Michael Jordan was playing against everybody else throughout 1988 and 1990 season, if you look at it here, these 5 series, Michael Jordan was averaging 40 points per game on 54% shooting versus the Cavaliers twice in 88 and 89, then versus the Knicks, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. That's a 25-game sample. In the playoffs, this is the Michael Jordan they want us to believe was Michael Jordan. That this is what it was always this. It was to them. It was always this to them. This was the phenomenal Michael Jordan. And mind you, throughout these playoffs, he's averaging 36, 7, and 7 on 52% shooting. That's the entire playoffs. That's if we include what he did when he played the Detroit Pistons. Because when he played the Detroit Pistons, we didn't see that sunshine Michael Jordan. We saw a choking Michael Jordan. He just averaged 30 points per game on 47% shooting. He didn't have a 50% shooting percentage against the Detroit Pistons in any one of these series for 3 straight years. In 1988, he had the horrible games where he went 3 straight games of scoring less than 25 points. Then he went in 1989 in game 4 through 6, averaged 24 points again. The same thing. The last 3 games of that series, he choked it up. And in the game 5 of that series, he basically stopped shooting the ball. He said, here, you guys try to win this game. I'm done with you. He quit on his team in 1989. Don't let me get my hands on that footage to show that. And then in 1990, Michael Jordan in the game 7, he scores 31 points, but that's on 27 field goal attempts, and his team needed to win that game, and all they do is blame Scottie Pippen. I don't know why they blame Scottie Pippen, because that's not the first time Jordan be choking in elimination games. Michael Jordan don't step up in elimination games. This is Michael Jordan's elimination games throughout the 80s. Oh, I know y'all got a lot to say in the comments, but y'all not going to have nothing to say when I put this link up. This is what Michael Jordan was doing in the 1980s in elimination games. We already know against Boston, they have excuses. But in his first playoff series versus Milwaukee, game 4, Bulls are down 2-1. He comes out there, 6 of 16 shooting, 29 points, which means, Jordan's going to the free throw line like usual. Then against Boston, game 3, after scoring 63 points in game 2 and still losing the game, he comes back home and gives the Chicago Bulls a 19-point dud while fouling out of the game. He didn't even want to play the game. That's how bad he was. He was like, I'll just foul out of this game and go sit on the bench and get out of here early. Then in 1987, the same thing, at game 3, facing elimination. You take 30 shots to score 30 points? Don't tell me it's the Boston Celtics. Oh, this is nonsense. You guys got a lot of excuses for Michael Jordan. You guys got hell of excuses for Michael Jordan. Hell of excuses for Michael Jordan. But this was the infamous 1988 season. In 1988, elimination game against the Detroit Pistons. He goes 10 of 22 for only 25 points. After giving you 2 duds before that, where is the killer instinct? Where is this will to win? Where is all of this nonsense? It wasn't there. It never existed. These are all zesty Jeffrey lies being exposed on a Friday night exposer. You have now been exposed by the exposer. And then you can go to game 6 in 1989. Yeah, he scored 32 points on 26 shots. He's just jacking up shots. In total, he averaged 27 points per game. But during that playoffs, he used to average over 32 points per game. He shot 41% all of these games throughout the 80s. These are elimination games. These are games where you're supposed to step up. This is what I hear about Michael Jordan all the time. They don't know Michael Jordan's career. They know Michael Jordan's career from highlights, a Bob Costas intro. Jordan was known for choking in the 80s. We already explained how he used to lose to Bird all the time. And I believe in 1989, he lost every game versus Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I'm correct, I believe Chicago lost every game versus that team in 1989 after having that remarkable season in 1988. Now, you can go double check my numbers there. But if I'm correct, I believe he either lost every game to Cleveland or every game to Detroit in 1989 during the regular season. And he was losing to Larry Bird throughout the 80s. These are all facts, ladies and gentlemen. And I always tell y'all, I didn't need to really watch these games to know this because my eyes can see the stats. The stats tell me enough. I'm a basketball fan. I know basketball. When I saw Jordan score 24, 23, 25, 3 straight games in a row, I said, well, hold up, wait a minute. I see all these numbers of Jordan scoring 40, 50 here, 39 here, and now you're giving us these games, and you're not efficient. You're not doing nothing but just losing the games for your team. Because Michael Jordan's the reason why the Bulls win. Even in Game 7s in 1980, like I told y'all, Michael Jordan averages 33 points per game. So 33.7 in Game 7s is not that great. You should be uplifting yourself. I always hear about playoff risers. Where's this playoff rising in Michael Jordan in crucial moments and when it matters the most? In 1988, that series was the biggest stage for Michael Jordan in his career, and he failed. It was an epic failure. And under the terms of GOAT James' kingdom, it was the biggest failure of all time for any superstar. It's the most epic failure in NBA history because nobody was ever that dominant to ever fall that fast in front of everybody's faces. But you see what Kevin Durant and LeBron does when it's time to step up your Game 7, when it's time to get there. Oh, don't get it confused. LeBron James is above 500 in these Game 7s. So we see what it takes to win when y'all talk about Michael Jordan and all this other stuff. I didn't see it in none of the film. It's an epic failure for Michael Jordan. Y'all gonna say, oh, he still averaged 30. He still did this. He still did that. He lost, like y'all always said. He lost. He lost. From my understanding, Jordan wills his team to winning. That's what's necessary for him to win. Oh, I got more for you guys. Here it is here. Game 7, right here in 1990. This is Michael Jordan's most epic, biggest moment in his career. Game 7, 1990. You can't get no bigger than this. You win this, you make the NBA Finals. You're the Eastern Conference champs. You beat the Detroit Pistons finally. And you come out and give your team a 30-point game. That's it. That's it. That's all. No, all. Let me give it all. Let me give you everything I got. Let me put everything on the line like Magic Johnson did in 1980 when he didn't have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Or Bill Russell in 1962 when he went off for 30 points and 40 rebounds in a Game 7 and help his team win a championship. Or when LeBron James in a Game 7, after his team almost was on the brink of losing in a Game 6, comes into a Game 7 and he doesn't even get nothing from Ray Allen or Chris Bosh. But look what he does. He outperforms. He steps up. His expectations was met and matched and greatly there. Jordan was averaging 37 points per game in 1990s playoff. 31 points per game ain't working. That ain't helping his team win. That's Michael Jordan choking under the biggest moments. A Game 7, that's what it is. Don't tell me about Mike. He's taking 26 shots, 27 shots to do this. That's what we're seeing from Michael Jordan. But Charles Zesty Jeffries want to have this argument. So as I do usual, I'll put the link up for you. And then we can have a discussion. Because I know who you want to talk about. It's funny, they say that all I do is talk about one particular guy, but now that I'm talking about their guy, they don't want to do it. But I'll put the link up anyways, because we're going to have some fun. It is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I do what I do best, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am cooking. It is a full course meal. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Ishmael. This is what we do best here in GOAT James Kingdom. This is what we do best in GOAT James Kingdom. Shout out to you, Devontae. Peace and blessings. Shout out to you. Peace, twin man. What's good, brother? Thank you for joining me on another Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. What's good, brother?
What's up, bro? What I'm not doing right now, I'm not dealing with tonight. Because we all know what they say about Wilt all the time. They love to call Wilt a playoff dropper. You showing how Jordan dropped in these playoffs, and now all of a sudden there's every excuse in the world. I don't want to hear it. If you're calling Wilt a playoff dropper in this playoffs in 1988, Jordan is a playoff dropper. I don't want to hear shit. He was averaging 45 points, and he went all the way down to 28. You choked. If there's anybody else, they would say they choked. Period.
Facts.
Period. So
Facts.
keep the same goddamn energy.
Facts.
Keep the same goddamn energy. He's a playoff dropper. That's supposed to be the best season ever, and he fucking choked in the playoffs. So I don't want to hear shit. That's all I really had to say. I'm not putting up with the bullshit tonight. Everybody else, they would call him a playoff dropper. Period. That would be the end of the story. Now all of a sudden we got to have all the context underneath the goddamn sun.
What context? What context do they need? What's the context?
No, you already know, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. If Jordan loses, there has to be a reason. The sun was in his eyes. He stubbed his toe. There was something going on. That's why he went from averaging 45 to 28. The physical defense, they put a simple double team on his ass, and he couldn't get around it. He couldn't get himself in space to, the master of the mid-range couldn't get space to shoot his jump shot. I don't want to hear shit. He went from averaging 45 to 28. He lost. He choked. He's a playoff dropper. Because that's what they would call anybody else. He's a playoff dropper. Deal with it. Now I'm going to get off so you can cook somebody.
All right, man. Appreciate you. See you later, to Twin Man. Shout out to Twin Man as he does his best. What's good, Miguel Justin? Thank you for joining me on Friday Night Exposure with the Exposure. What's good, bro?
Man, y'all are these things, bro. I swear. I've never seen a bunch of guys like y'all. Straight idiocy.
That's a compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's straight
idiocy. Listen, guy averaged 45 points. What do we go from there? Averaging 50? I mean, I guess so. I mean, you said playoff dropper, you went from 45 to 28. So you average 45, what you go to 50, 60, 70, averaging 70? Like, I don't know.
When was the last time Jordan ever averaged 28 points per game? Or 27? It's really 27. Huh?
Well, 27. Yeah. See, the thing is, he averaged 28. And 28 he ain't even bad. 28 not even bad.
It's bad when it's Michael Jordan and he's used to getting.
No, it's not bad when it's Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan I had bad games.
Listen, they needed 45 per game for them to win the first series. So why would it stop now? Why is it stopping now?
Bro, Michael Jordan I had bad series just like any other NBA player. I've never said Michael Jordan was perfect. You don't have bad series. I know plenty of series of Jordan I had a bad series.
But I've never heard you check these Zesty Jeffries. You be right along
what you mean, check? Bro,
listen, lying about Michael Jordan choking in the playoffs or not, you don't go telling me, yo, Michael Jordan did play bad. There are series where, again, it wasn't just that Michael Jordan played bad a lot, but you guys want to credit him for scoring a lot when he takes a lot of shots, especially when he's going to the free throw line 10 to 11 times per game. Like, these are the things that you guys are giving him credit for stats, which I never understand this. So Michael Jordan, all Michael Jordan has to do is average 20-something points per game, and that's your GOAT. That's enough for you. That it doesn't matter what. He was averaging 35 that season. Why? He was averaging 38 versus Detroit. Why was he averaging 27 points per game? Why was he shooting under 50%? And mind you, it's not just the scoring. It's also the assists went down. The steals went down. The blocks went down. The turnovers went up.
Hey, what can I say? The Detroit Pistons was a good team back then.
No,
they was a defensive team. That's why they were called the bad boy Pistons. They was called that for a reason.
Because Michael Jordan kept choking against them.
They was a good team. I mean, what you want me to do? They was a good team.
You can't remember.
They really was.
You can't do that because you're not Scotty. They needed Scotty.
They was a good team.
If you were
Bro,
Scotty,
everybody needs somebody.
If you were Scottie Pippen, you would have been able to help Michael Jordan.
Bro, everybody needs somebody, bro. Ain't nobody out there winning by themselves. I hate when y'all do that. Everybody needs somebody.
Don't tell me hate that. You know what I go through. You know what I hear. I'm telling you this right now. Go check your peoples. Don't come checking me. Go check your people.
But see, wait though. See, Jordan, I guarantee you Jordan never failed how LeBron did in 2011 while having a good team. I bet he never did that.
LeBron James wasn't the league MVP in 2011. He wasn't the fake defensive player.
What does that matter? Look at his team, though. I'm talking about teams.
Wait, the LeBron James team lost to an All-NBA player with an All-Defensive player on their roster.
Bro, you got to be out your mind. You got three top, bro. You had three top 10 players on the same team.
The Detroit Pistons in 1988 had 120 point per game score, one All-Star. That's it. They didn't have nothing special. They didn't have nothing special. Other
Detroit.
than the fact that they knew how to beat Michael Jordan and they were able to get past the Boston Celtics. If Michael Jordan would have been able to get past Detroit, he would have been able to get to the finals because
What year that was? What year we talking about?
That was 1988.
Okay, so that was the Pistons what? First championship? No, it wasn't.
No, they didn't win the championship.
That about to say they didn't win the
that
championship in
that
'88.
was supposed to be Jordan's first championship.
Hey man, but Jordan did have one of the greatest regular seasons in NBA history though in '88.
Yeah, and he ended up choking it in the playoffs, like I said.
Well, I mean, hey, it happens. It happens.
Oh, see, look,
It happens.
you know what,
Yeah,
Mingle?
you should know better, and you should know better than anybody.
You know
It
what?
happens.
You know what? I'm going to applaud you, Mingle, because
You should know better than anybody.
You have always stepped up to claim that you are an objective individual, even though you are a Kobe guy. I know you are a Kobe guy.
Yeah, Kobe my guy though. Yeah, Kobe my guy. Yeah.
I know you're a Kobe guy, but I suggest you don't do this because I got some folks waiting in the background. I want to bring them up. You go ahead and go watch this 1988 game. It's available for you. It's on FYF. It's available for you to go watch. Go watch that game. Then go to 1980 Sports Discussions channel and go watch some other games. They got a lot of other games to watch. They got some other 89 games. They got Jordan against the Knicks. They got Jordan against the Cleveland Cavaliers. These are all great games that Michael Jordan had. So go watch. There's even one against the Detroit Pistons in 1989 because in 1989 the Bulls go up 2-1. So I believe one of those games that they win is available on that channel as well. So you go ahead and watch that because you will get a chance to see why you like Kobe so much because supposedly that's who Kobe is, that Michael Jordan back then.
I've been a Kobe guy.
I know you're a Kobe guy. I'm going to holler at you. I appreciate you, Mingo Jester. Thank you for joining me, brother. Thank you. So we got them going on here. Although, wait a minute. We got the MJ police, y'all.
Hey, you. Where are you going?
I'm going to mind my fucking business. That's where I'm going. Do you have a problem with that, officer?
Again with the questions. What is this, Jeopardy?
No, it ain't Jeopardy. It ain't Monopoly either. And I ain't going to jail.
Freeze! Freeze!
Goddamn, you all sound like a set of bookends, man.
Put your hands on top of your head. Shh, top. Lean back.
I know why you stopped me.
Mac Def is in the building. Shout out to Mac Def. What's good, brother?
Bro. So, first of all, we gonna pay homage and give the Detroit Pistons they flowers and just do. We can't act like the Detroit Pistons aren't a top 5 defensive team all time, a top 10 team all time, and having 4 Hall of Famers on that 88 team. Like, this is one of the greatest teams of all time. No,
they're not, man.
What are we talking about?
You capping, man. You capping. Would you believe me when I told you the Chicago Bulls had a better defense that year?
You could go ahead with the stats, but no, the Bulls weren't a better defensive team than the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons. And this is the year that they should have won a championship, but they got hosed. They got robbed. But with that being
said, but he choked and he
with that being said, I think it would have been an accomplishment if Jordan would have beat this team with a rookie Scottie Pippen. So what's the issue?
What? No. Why are you bringing up Scottie Pippen?
Jordan, you just brought up Scottie Pippen.
No. I just told you that's when they win. I just showed you that they wouldn't even have won Game 5. They wouldn't even beat Cleveland without Scottie Pippen. With all of Jordan's brilliance, they would have lost the first series if Scottie Pippen didn't step up and play the game that he played in Game 5 versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1988. A rookie. First ever starting game ever in NBA history was a Game 5 in the NBA playoffs. Biggest moment. You got Michael Jordan. They want the season to go on. They're all hyped. Jordan's supposed to step up. It's not Scottie Pippen's moment. It's Jordan's moment. This is Jordan's turn. He's the league MVP. He's the guy that's stealing the ball, blocking shots, doing everything for the Chicago Bulls. That's why they had the number 1 defense in the league. Charles Oakley was a double-double machine. Sam Vincent went ham in Game 2 for 31 points. What are we talking about,
right. Ajani, stop it, bro. The whole point with this the Cleveland series, you killed yourself on that. The Pistons series, like I said.
How I killed myself? What did I do? What did I do for the Cleveland series? I gave Jordan his props. But the facts of the matter is the player of the game was Scottie Pippen, the player of the game in Game 5.
A man that averages 45 points per game on 56% field goal percentage. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, he had some help. Thank you. Give me the 13 points per game. Thank you. Anybody.
I need a Zesty Jeffrey up here because, Mac, you are the MJ police. You are trying to soothe some wounds here. This is not the night.
No, because you're trying to say he's a dropper and this is a choke job in 8
That
days.
is a dropper. I'm not trying to say that. The stats say that. The game film says that. Everything says that. But you, Mac Def.
No, because again, the Detroit Pistons, are one of the greatest teams of all time, one of the greatest defensive teams of all time.
Against them because Jordan kept
hold on, the film that you showed, was he getting double teamed?
Of course he was getting double teamed. That's what
okay, so where's the great help that he needed?
What you mean? Again, Jordan doesn't need that.
Who says that?
Really, Mac? Let me back. I'm gonna tell you who says that. Let me bring up somebody who says that. I'll bring you back up, Mac. Let me bring somebody else to watch this, y'all. Herm, give me a second, Herm. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Wall Street, Brandon in the building. Go ahead, Brandon. Explain to him how Jordan never need no help, and the reason he lost was because he didn't have help. Go ahead, tell us.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you chose to talk about this Pistons series because and it's interesting you're on Lamont's channel because this series cooks you and it cooks you and Lamont on multiple levels. So first of all, this was the series where Jordan proved he was Defensive Player of the Year because he didn't just limit, he shut down Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas shot 40% in the series, but Isaiah shot 38% against Jordan. And Jordan shut down Isaiah almost the whole year, including in this series. But you're lying. You've lied blatantly this whole show. You're lying about what happened in this series. Scottie Pippen averaged 13 points a game in the playoffs, but Scottie Pippen averaged nine points a game in this series. So Jordan was playing 1-on-5 against one of the all-time great defenses. And this is where I completely cook you because your criteria for saying Jordan choked is that his points per game and efficiency dropped. So if you're going to say, Jordan, will you choke when you lose to a team that's inferior to you? The Pistons were significantly better than the Bulls, and Jordan still shot over 44% from the field. He averaged over 25 a game. By your criteria, efficiency and points per game dropping, by your own criteria, LeBron James choked 3 of his four times he was in the finals. And LeBron shot 41% from the field in the playoffs, 2 of his first 3 years. He was in the playoffs with Cleveland. So by your criteria, LeBron James choked his whole fucking career. Jordan was playing 1-on-5 against an all-time great defense. Scottie Pippen averaged 9 points a game. He averaged 8 a game in the regular season. You know, the Bulls' second best scorer in that season was literally Sam Vincent. That's what trash the Bulls roster was. Get to the second round of the playoffs and take Detroit to 6. Jordan overachieved that year. He did not choke.
You done?
I'm done, yeah.
Wow, so many fallacies by you, Zesty Jeffries.
Jordan overachieved in '88. He did not choke.
If Scottie Pippen is why the Chicago Bulls lose, he is the reason why the Chicago Bulls wins, as I was able to prove with the Cleveland Cavaliers series. So here we go into this series where you want to talk about
won with any decent second option. Oh, the other thing is, and Lamont had this lie too. Lamont said Pippen's offense never caused.
Say another motherfucking word, and this shit is over.
Pippen's offense was why the Bulls lost to Detroit every year.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard me give this gentleman a whole time to speak. You heard me do it. I asked him, are you done? He said, yeah, I got nothing else. Then he wouldn't let me speak.
Sit your punk ass down. That old bullshit.
You get to sit with Michael Jordan in the dugout when you don't allow me to speak. When you don't allow a conversation to happen. There is something wrong with you, Zesty Jeffries. You have to allow, I literally let you speak. You went on this whole fucking soliloquy.
What the fuck you doing here? If you can't take it, sit your ass down.
Stop it. Now I'm not even got time to address what you was going to talk about. Because all you did was lie. I'm gonna bring up Herm. Shout out to Herm. Thank you for joining me, Herm. Bro, this shit don't make no motherfucking sense, man. This shit don't make no sense. Shout out to Herm, Hollywood Herm.
Salute.
Y'all know where to find Herm at. He be on the crossover. He be on different shows as well on FYF. Shout out to everybody that's a part of the FYF platform. As y'all know, we do have a FYF and GJK collaboration. We are going live on both platforms this evening. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great night. It is a Friday night. We're having some fun. They don't seem to understand, bruh. That dude is something special. I have something for him. He doesn't even want to know. But let's let you speak about yourself. I know.
Brandon the character, man.
Yeah, I know. Listen. I know you are part of the MJ Police as well, and you are about to go ahead and this is. They need you to do this. They need you to do this, Herm.
Income.
Cuba, what do you say to your fans?
They need you to stop me because I'm out here doing my work. I'm a real basketball fan. I'm out here doing, bro.
Hey, but the thing I would say to you though, when it comes to that, in the playoffs though, bro, it matchups varies. Your numbers gonna vary. I may average 50 points in the first round, but depending on my matchup in that second round, I may have to play a whole different way, or the team may schematically playing a game plan surrounding me to the point where my numbers would dip. So when it comes to that, that's kind of tough what you persuade. Now, if you go off his regular season average, that's a 7-point drop off. So it is. If you go off what he completely did in that whole regular season, that's different. He averaged 35 in that regular season. So if you go off him averaging 28 in that series against Detroit, that's a 7-point drop off. That's true. His numbers did dip because he averaged 35 the whole season in 88. So I understand that aspect, but the thing is, I look at it like this. He was young in his career, 4th-year player. Let's be real. We don't see most superstars that we like, most players that we love. They don't have success like that. Magic Johnson is really the exception. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to a degree as well. Those guys won early, but for the most part, the guys we love, the LeBrons, Kobe won early too. But the LeBrons, the Jordans, and all them, Shaqs and all them, they didn't win early. So end of the day, they go have their failures. They go drop the ball. You go see them have historical meltdowns like we've seen from all these players. Jordan had some of the worst meltdowns in the 80s against the Pistons. That's true. He couldn't get over the hump. We know that. We've seen it. It's the same thing we could go into elaborate about LeBron. But see, really, I don't really count 2007 as a failure for LeBron. I don't count 1988 as a meltdown for Jordan. They was young in their careers. They was learning their flow of how to win. They tried to navigate how to make a team better and how to be a better leader as themselves. So really, with players in their first 7 years, they're typically learning the ropes. They're typically trying to figure things out. They navigate. Yes, they're trying to uplift their brand and establish themselves as the most elite players, but for the most part, they're not winning championships. They were trending towards that, which we did see the all-time great players do. So, end of the day, at the overall spec, go James Kingdom. You was right. His numbers did dip because all you got to do is just go off his regular season average. His numbers dip. But in the retrospect, for a guy in his 4th season, I typically won't go as far to say people choke. Like I told niggas LeBron didn't choke at '07. End of the day, he was a young player. He over exceeded expectation. He went against an all-time great team, and he got his ass whooped. Jordan just got his ass whooped. Pistons was a better team. They schooled his ass. They schooled Michael Jordan. Jordan had to go back to the drawing board and see how he could get better. It's the same thing all the greats that we ever seen play outside of the ones that we know won early. They got to get their ass kicked to get better. At the end of the day, you seen what happened when LeBron finally, when he took that horrific meltdown in 2011. You seen how he came back that next year. He finally said enough is enough. I can't go through this shit no more. And you seen what he did. Had a historical 2012 season. You know that. So
Yeah, of course. But see,
sometimes
we
you
all
gotta go through those failures to get better. And that's how I look at it.
always know that as real basketball fans. See what I'm saying? Like, but this is not the conversation Zesty Jeffries like to have. Because if we start talking about basketball in that sense, then that kind of normalizes Michael Jordan and the aura of Michael Jordan. Because remember, we have to make Michael Jordan look like Superman. He can't be like everybody else. He can't be like Kobe's. He can't be like the LeBrons, the Magics, and these guys. He has to be separated. He has to be elevated. So that's the problem that they have. But like, you know, just like when Brandon was bringing up the 2011, if we really look at the 2011 playoffs series that they love to bring up, right? Like you said about the 7-point drop off, right? Yeah, LeBron James had a 7-point drop off or an 8-point drop off from the regular season, but from the postseason it was like 6 points, right? But you can see the difference between him and Jordan. Jordan was complete, but again, I got to tell people, Michael Jordan was the league MVP. He was everything for the NBA. That was the greatest season of all time. 2011 was not the greatest season of all time for LeBron James. This would have been the idea of 2013 LeBron choking. Like if LeBron would have lost against the Spurs, they would have said he choked, even though his numbers were great against the Spurs. But again, they love to bring up LeBron James for failures when we all see Michael Jordan had failures as well, but they never saw these failures. That's the real truth.
But here's the thing, Go Giants, and guys are real Jordan fans, in which I'm one of them. In all actuality, his story of failures actually what make his legacy, though. What people don't actually realize, Jordan failures in the 80s and how he finally overcame getting his ass whooped by the Pistons year after year after year. That's what solidified his legacy, the story of him learning from his failures, coming back for more, not giving up, getting better year after year, despite of losing, despite of failing. You ultimately seen his greatness. And once he got over the hump, Go Giants Kingdom, it was no looking back once he got over the hump. So people don't realize you actually take away from Jordan's story, his legacy, by not mentioning his failures, because that's what made his legacy even better at the fact that he bounced back for those failures. He didn't run from the situation. He faced it head on. And once he overcame it, it was no looking back. So a lot of people I think a lot of Jordan fans need to utilize that more often rather than just trying to ignore the fact that Jordan, because when he got his ass kicked in the 80s, it wasn't because of, yes, a lot of his ass whoopers in the 80s was due to him having to learn how to play team basketball. He was not a good team player early in his career. And once he finally bought into his coaching, you seen a significant difference. But, you know, outside of that, people use his failures as a way to even elevate Mike's legacy. That's what makes his legacy, honestly. So, guys got to come from that.
That's a funny take. I'm gonna let you live on that one because I got to bring up Travis, who is a GOAT James Kingdom member. So y'all make sure to check out Herm, who is always available on FYF. You also catch him on Ticket TV and other platforms like the GOAT James Kingdom channel. So shout out to you, Herm, man. You enjoy your Friday night. You be safe, brother.
Salute, my brother. Salute. Keep cooking, man. Keep cooking.
Hey, listen, to find wine and dine. That's what we do here on the Friday Night Exposure, baby. You know how I go around here, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Let me bring up Travis right quick. Shout out to Travis. Before we let Travis speak, this man asked me to pull up LeBron James numbers versus the Spurs, right? And I did do that. Like I always told you, you zesty Jeffries don't know basketball. And when we do that, we can clearly see that in the Game 7, LeBron completely elevated his game. And it's because he was the league MVP. He should have been the league defensive player of the year as well. He was all NBA first team, all defensive first team. This is his moment. This is his time. He shines. 37 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals on 52% shooting 50% from the three-point line. Every aspect of the game, he was better for his team. That's what you call stepping up. It's just facts here in GOAT James Kingdom. That's what we do best. Again, I'm Ajani the Exposer. This is the Friday Night Exposer. You have now been exposed by the Exposer. So let's get back to Travis. What up, Travis, man? How you doing, brother? Thank you for joining me, man. Are you a Kobe guy? But you just see what I'm doing to the Jeffries, man. They can't handle it. You know, Brandon got put in the dugout again because he couldn't handle it. He can't take it. They cannot take the facts, bro. All I do is bring the actual facts to the table, presented like none other. That's why you should subscribe to the channel. That's why you should check out our membership. Because Travis will tell you, you guys get exclusive content. But what up, Travis? What you got for me today?
What's up, man? I know you know that I know you know. This is literally the only topic that I ever let you get to me on. And I hate it. I hate that I can't not ever try and check you on this. Because it's just so stupid.
I got film now. You saw the film.
Dude, okay, so I don't have a problem with you saying that Mike underperformed or even choked or whatever versus the Pistons. But, like, when we comparing that to, okay, yeah, like Herm said, his regular season average 35 points a game on insane shooting splits. Okay, then he went back to, like, basically just a superhuman level, or basically an all-star level of 27 points per game on 50% shooting, leading his team in everything but rebounds versus the Pistons. Did he drop? Sure. But, like, I just want to check, like, guys like Twin Man and Ismail saying, oh, he didn't average 45 points per game in consecutive series. He wasn't just like this god. That's a disingenuous take. Did he drop? Sure. But Mike's choking is better, basically, than, like, 99% of, like, all superstars' stat lines in playoff series, period. Like, you don't want to mention that. You just want to nitpick.
It was better than anybody else's on the Detroit Pistons, which Brandon was also lying on because Isaiah Thomas stepped up. Yeah, he did shoot 41%, but Isaiah Thomas went ham in that game 3 where you get to go watch it. At the start of that game, Isaiah Thomas was breaking them down. They were talking about how the Chicago Bulls could not break down the Bulls defense, the Detroit defense off the dribble, that they were having struggles doing it, while the Detroit Pistons on the other side of the court were completely breaking down the whole Bulls defense off the dribble because of Isaiah Thomas. And Isaiah Thomas,
both defense got exposed that game. They got exposed that series.
Yeah, he led the team in scoring for the Detroit Pistons that series. He averaged over 20 points per game, which he didn't average in the regular season. So he stepped up. Don't tell me about field goal percentage. Jordan's field goal percentage was horrible. It was under 50%.
Well, it's easy to step up when you're just immortal and, like, the bar isn't that high. I mean, Jordan would have to step up he'd have 50 points a game against one of the best defensive teams of all time. That's not going to happen. I don't care who you are. When he's throwing to bum-ass Scottie Pippen, like, who else is going to carry them past? Come on, dude. Like, it's Jordan. Was he underperforming according, like, relative to his own god-tier self? Sure. But, I mean, he's still going to be, like, he's still efficient. He was still the best player on both sides of the floor for his team. It's like, did he choke? Yeah, but if we don't talk about choking, I'm not even going to, like, bash the problem because we all know. Like, but he was just, like, we just had to keep that same energy for everyone that we talk about in the playoffs, because every star has had low moments and lulls, and it's just, like, about what the context is. I'm not saying that Jordan played his best series or anything, but to be like, oh, he didn't average 45 points a game, that's why he choked, is just fucking stupid.
Travis,
nobody,
I love you.
Nobody says Jordan wins averaging. Nobody says Jordan wins averaging 27 points per game. From my understanding, 30 points per game is why 6 championships exist.
This is why your take is disingenuous, Travis. We don't do this for any other player. I understand exactly what you're saying, but if we were to do this for every player, I could give you that. If somebody averaged 35 points for the entire year, the first series you win, you give them 45. You average over 50%, and then you drop to 27 and you're under 50%, there's no grace. There's no context. People just say he choked or he's a dropper. You know that.
Those people are idiots.
Wait, Travis. Twin Man. This man said the Pistons were a dynasty. So does that mean that the Heat were a dynasty? Because from my understanding, you eat 2 championships is not a dynasty.
Not a dynasty.
That's what. See, exactly. I knew Mike was going to say. But go ahead, finish Twin Man. Go ahead, finish Twin Man.
This is my only problem, because Travis, I don't even disagree with you. I'm not going to even say you're wrong. No one should have expected him to average 45 points. But do you think they expected him to give more than 27 since he averaged 35 points the whole regular season and just went off the series before? Absolutely.
Wait, but why can't we expect Michael Jordan to average 40-something points per game when every other series in those same playoffs he was averaging 40 points per game? There wasn't a series other than, oh wait, there was no series other than the Detroit series that Michael Jordan averaged less than 35 points in the series. There was no other series that he shot less than 52%. Michael Jordan and every other playoff series was giving us exactly what y'all said we can't expect him to do when this is exactly what he was fucking doing.
So I'm gonna land my plane here. Travis, you know your take is not bad, but you know you being a little disingenuous. Anybody else, we call them a playoff dropper. We say they choked. You know we do. I need you to keep that same energy for Michael Jordan right now. I really do.
Playoff dropper. He dropped for that series. I already said he dropped relative to his season. He dropped. Yes.
You giving in to this man? Come on, bro.
No. Listen, he dropped relative to that series, but it was still a great series against one of the best defensive teams ever. Like he's not going to be. There's no way he's going to average 45 points a game.
Are we calling? Hold on, real quick. Are we calling Luka Doncic a playoff dropper because he didn't average his 34 versus the Celtics?
They did.
You guys are stupid.
That's the dumbest take ever.
No, that's not a dumb
standards that people have set out. Luka did not perform.
The standards are relative. That's why Jordan's the GOAT, is because the standards are
No, listen, I'm not gonna let y'all lie. This is what they were doing to Luka. This is what I was seeing on the internet for Luka. The same way they used Photoshop in 2024 to show you how Luka was choking in the playoffs, they did the same shit in 1989. They did a Photoshop. They made Jordan look like a shrimp. You know Joe Dumars is 6'2", 6'3". They had to make Jordan look small. That's how they Photoshopped Michael Jordan 89, and this is how they Photoshopped this boy just this past season.
That's not Photoshop at all.
Ajani, hey, do you think Luka choked?
Again, we don't talk this conversation. When we want to talk GOAT James Kingdom basketball.
So we talk casually. We're talking casually.
That is casual talk. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The Zesty Jeffries have been talking casual basketball for the last 30
Answer the
years.
question.
Again, we don't believe in choking. We keep telling you guys. Oh, I've always said this, and I'm going to keep repeating this. If one was a meltdown, so was the other. It's your choice. Don't ask us, because we do our research. We do our facts. We drop bombs. You guys are the ones who keep telling us the lies. We keep exposing the lies.
Oh my God. You guys, hold on. Context, that's not true. That's not true.
Mac, you should, man, listen, Mac.
Cut me off if you want to, bro.
I'm not going to cut you off, man. I'm not about to cut you off. I'm just going to let you know being the MJ police is not very friendly in GOAT James King.
Bro, I don't give a fuck about no police, and I don't give a fuck about no police now. Shit. You know what? You can do whatever you want to do. So it don't mean nothing to me for you to show up tomorrow morning with your head blown off. You understand what I'm saying?
You got to stop it, Mac. You can't save him every time. You're going to hurt yourself, bro. You can't. What you going to do? Now y'all want to be objective. Now y'all want to be.
It ain't nothing about being objective.
No, because
it's
before tonight's show, tell me where have you seen anybody prove and show you that Michael Jordan was choking in the playoffs and accepted it as facts?
He didn't choke. That's my whole point. This is not a choke job. What are you talking about?
So players never choke.
You said who?
Players never choke.
Yes, players choke. That's a fact.
All right, so 2011 is not a choke.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Mac, I'm gonna accept that from you, Mac. Again, you are an individual. You speak for yourself. I don't consider you as.
Hold on. Thank you. I don't go off with the casual say. If I had to choose,
who's getting exposed tonight because I'm about to bring up Brandon and let y'all go so I can bring up Brandon. Before I bring up Brandon, I got to bring up Ishmael. But I'm gonna let you know right now. You need to go get them Zesty Jeffries. You need to go get them Zesty.
Hold on. The only choke job, if that's what we're saying, for 88 is not a choke job. That's hilarious. The only choke job that Jordan has is 1990 versus the Pistons. He couldn't even get the number 1 seed from them. He lost all the road games in Detroit, and he couldn't end it in 6 in 1990. He couldn't.
Zach, what are you doing?
But he got it back in 91. The other choke job from Jordan is in 95 versus the Orlando Magic when he got the ball stolen from him by Nick Anderson in game 1. and then he couldn't close the force a game 7 and game 6. Them is the only choke jobs from Jordan that's
You just
remotely
said
close.
there was no such thing as choking. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have...
I did not say that. What are you talking about?
Oh
You
my
asked me if
God,
players
man.
choked, and I said yes.
Good evening, Mac. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Have a good evening, Travis. Have a good evening. I'm going to bring up Lamont. Peace, Lamont. Thank you for joining me. Here it is. What's good, brother? I'm going to bring you up in a second here, Ishmael. But you see what I'm doing here, brother. I'm cooking. They calling you out. They're asking you why you're giving us this platform. But obviously, this is your platform. I was going to do this anyways on Friday Night Exposure. It's what I do every Friday night. We just collaborate.
Exactly.
Lamont's a real basketball fan. Shout out to Lamont and the FYF Sports panels. What's good, brother?
Look, I think the point that Mac Def is missing is this is the standard. This is the precedence that they set. They set this groundwork of what choking was, and so, like you said, if we're gonna apply this standard of choking to everybody, then everything that you've mentioned about Michael Jordan is considered a choke. And this is what I said before on my channel. I said, you guys have changed the definition of what choking is so much so that every time a player loses a game, y'all calling it a choke. I said there have been very few times in NBA history where we've seen true chokes, like the Tragic Johnson moment where he dribbled out the shot clock, the J.R. Smith moment where he just completely forgot basketball. And I was like, real chokes are moments like that. But because they want to use terms and terminologies just to say something negative about players today, they love to use this word choke, and they use it so loosely that they don't realize this term also applies to Michael Jordan if you use it this loosely. So, and that's what they don't want to accept. That's what they're trying not to accept. He's trying to say, are we not talking real basketball? And like, oh, now you want to talk real basketball. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to talk about basketball.
Now it wasn't just them hacking Jordan, because I got film and footage to show they wasn't just hacking Jordan. They were literally playing strategic defense. Like they knew exactly when to double team him, who was going to double team, who was going to help, who was going to rotate. They knew everything. They were on point, and they figured it out. It took that game 3 to put it all together, and then from there Jordan couldn't do nothing against them. But you had any last words, Lamar? Because I do got a GOAT James Kingdom member.
Nah, let me get up out of here, man. I'm gonna get out the way.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Y'all know who that is, man. Shout out to Lamont and the FYF Sports Debate. He always does it like none other, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Let me bring up Ishmael. Thank you, Ishmael, for joining me. I know you said in the comments that you were just about to state on that, but brother, cook. Let's go. We got all night.
Yeah, I was going to ask because what does choking essentially mean at this point? Is it like when you drop in the playoffs, when you underperform from this previous series? When I agree with Lamont, like choking always been like circumstances, like certain situations, like if you dribbling the clock out and the ball bounce and it's like you down by 1 point and then the ball bounce off your leg or something like that. Like I don't. It's like, is underperforming considered a choke? And if we say that, does that mean that the other team does not get credit for playing good defense for not stopping that player? So that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, Ishmael, as you know best, man. These Zesty Jeffries got to make things up as they go along.
Yeah,
doesn't matter if it got holes like a Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's just about, it depends on the player. Because again, if I told you LeBron averaged 18, 7, and 7 on 48% shooting, you're gonna say that's him underperforming. How? Any other player, that's normal. Same thing with Jordan. Any other player, 27 points per game is good.
Right.
But not for Jordan.
Yeah, like
Jordan was averaging 35, 40 points per game. That's what his team is expecting. That's how his team got to that point.
Right.
Doing that throughout the season. There was only 9 games throughout that year that Michael Jordan scored 25 points or less. They were 3-6 in those games. There was only one other time in that season where Jordan had 3 straight games of under 25 points, and in those 3 games they were 0-3. So it's obvious, like they say, Jordan needs to score for his team to have a chance to win. And like I said, he would have lost in the first round if it wasn't for Scottie.
Right. Some people even tried to say like, oh, if a certain player doesn't score this amount of points in the fourth quarter, then they're a choke artist. Or if they don't, even if they play great, you know, I've even heard people say even LeBron's 38 points per game against Orlando Magic in 2009 is a choke performance because he was like the #1 seed team, and they should have beaten Orlando Magics, who were a team that was less than the regular season. And then there's another person that says, well, you can't compare. When you say Jordan underperformed in the comments, they say, well, you can't compare Jordan from the regular season because that's different play and different teams and all this other stuff. So the playoffs is different pace and whatnot. So it's like the negative terms all seem to come from like the mainstream sports media, and they use these to be able to diminish a player. They use it whenever they feel like it. And it's just, I think it turns into this negative basketball, negative sports discourse, man. It's terrible.
Ishmael, you were so on point with that. Let me address Ruddy Hood Sports. Shout out to Ruddy Hood Sports. He said, yeah, 2011 is a choke, then 1988 is a choke. Like I said, it's your decision, guys. They defined it. Now, you heard what you said about the talking negative, right? You heard about that, right? Now, pay attention to this. Listen to this intro to this game, and pay attention to. Tell me if you hear anything different when you hear them talk about the game of basketball. This is the intro to the Game 5, Cleveland Cavaliers versus Chicago Bulls.
Bolstered by Michael Jordan's record-setting performances, the Chicago Bulls grabbed the first 2 games in their opening round playoff series with Cleveland. The home court proved to be a charm. Chicago held all the cards, while the stunned Cavaliers found themselves headed toward a speedy elimination. With their backs pressed firmly against the wall, the Cleveland Cavaliers returned home facing a stiff challenge. But the youthful Cavs proved worthy of the task. With impressive balance and poise, they won the next 2 games, forcing today's showdown in a series where there's truly been no place like home. Today in Chicago, the season is on the line for the Cavaliers and the Bulls. The winner moves on, the loser goes home. It's Game 5.
So you heard that. You heard how they broke down what happened without giving no discredit, without no negative talk, nothing negative about Cleveland, nothing negative about the Bulls. It was just that, the Bulls were great for the first 2 games. The Cleveland Cavaliers had the wall, but had their backs against the wall. They were able to show up. They were resilient. Now we're here in the Game 5. Who will show up? Nothing about, Michael Jordan needs to step up. If not, his career is over. None of this other stuff. It's just,
how will this hurt his legacy? All that stuff.
It's just all about greatness. It's all about greatness. They only talk about the game like how it's supposed to be talked about because it is a great game. But the Zesty Jeffries are the ones who always want to talk about the game negatively because they think Jordan had nothing negative to talk about. But as you can see on a Friday night exposure, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, eventually they have to move the goalposts or whatever, the terminology is supposed to be in order to fit for what Jordan is. It's like, he underperformed. I don't know how you can argue it against that. Like it's clear. And so based on what everybody else says, I even Googled what choking is in sports. And it's basically saying like you play less than from what I guess the consensus, you play less than what is expected of you. And he played less than is expected,
Way less.
Yeah, way less. Big time.
Big time across the board. And like I told you, if one is a meltdown, then the other is. So if you want to continue to talk about meltdowns for LeBron James, now mind you, in 2007, you can't call it a meltdown. He was 22 years old. Jordan at 22 years old was getting swept in the first round. He was not even in the NBA Finals. And mind you, he was facing a prime Tim Duncan with another all-defensive player in Bruce Bowens, plus one of the greatest coaches of all time, one of the great. Y'all talk about great teams. What was the Spurs during the whole 2000s? They were definitely better than the Pistons.
Yeah.
And like I told you, even if LeBron finds a way to beat the Spurs, they're still a great team. But if Jordan beats the Pistons, there is no bad boy Pistons. The bad boy Pistons was birthed through beating Michael Jordan because he kept choking against them year in and year out. Go ahead, baby.
Yeah, I just want to say, I may argue with some of these people in the comments and whatnot, and just show some of the hypocrisy. But I it's only for the hypocrisy. I don't really believe in choking like that because, Lamont was right, and specifically in the area, I do believe a player can underperform what is expected, but I don't like the terminologies and stuff because it takes credit away from the opponents and what they did. in order to stop them. So I think people should stop doing that so we could just have like an authentic, discussion about some of the best players that we witnessed. So
if we do that, Jordan's not the GOAT.
yeah,
They have to create myth and mythologies and things of that nature to make Jordan the GOAT. And we talk basketball like how they want to do now, it becomes an issue. So I'm about to let another Zesty Jeffrey.
Okay, I'll just hang back. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you want to hang tight, you can. Matter of fact, let me let you have some fun with this gentleman because you are a member and you can have some fun. Let's bring back Brandon Katz, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon, go ahead with your.
Yeah, I gotta completely cook you here. I mean, it's just there's so many lies on this channel. Like, first of all, Tim Duncan was not close to his prime in 2008. He had feet injuries. He was only 19 a game. But here's the point. I'm going to do something that you are afraid to do because it will expose you. I'm going to give a clear definition of what the term choke means. Choke means that a player drops significantly from what they are expected to do in a series where they have the more talented team. So when LeBron in 2011 is playing with Dwayne Wade was a top 5 player in the NBA in 2011. He averaged almost 30 a game in 2011, and LeBron choked because he averaged 2 points a game, 2 points per quarter in the fourth quarter. In 2007, LeBron shot 35% from the field. It's not Michael Jordan's roster in 1988 was garbage. The number 2 scorer was Sam Vincent. So in the playoffs, teams were playing 1-on-5 against Jordan. So of course Jordan, against one of the best defenses in NBA history, with his second option as Sam fucking Vincent, was going to drop. But Pippen was the issue in 1988 and 1999. Pippen averaged 9 points a game against the Pistons in the playoffs in 1988. And when you say Pippen's the reason the Bulls beat the Cavs, that's another lie. Because if Pippen had showed up, the Bulls would have swept the Cavs in 3. Because after Jordan had huge games in Game 1 and Game 2 against Cleveland, the Cavs started playing 5-on-1 on Jordan, and that is what created the opportunity. 5 is the Cavs were playing 5-on-1 on Jordan, and that opened things up for Scottie, who scored more than 15 points 4 games in the entire 1988 playoffs and was complete trash against Detroit. LeBron shot 35% against San Antonio. He shot 41% twice in his first 4 years in the playoffs.
Shut up, bitch. Sit your ass down.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am tired of this guy. All he does is lie. Like, all you do is fucking lie, bro. Like, you just sit here and lie and lie. I'm not gonna let you go on your soliloquy because you're not gonna let me fucking speak, bro.
Golly, that man had a whole speech. God damn.
First off, let's address this 2011 Heat. He can't even name who's on that 2011 Heat team besides Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. He's sitting here telling you everybody that's on the Chicago Bulls in 1988. He can't tell you who was on that 2011 Miami Heat team. Again, the Miami Heat of 2011 went against a team that had an all-NBA player and an all-defensive player. You lied also and kept saying Michael Jordan was playing 1-on-5 versus Cleveland after the first 2 games, when in reality, we watched them playing defense like this.
But we have 2 players out here that were free agents that are on the court right now for this Cleveland team, and that's Craig Eglow and Mike Sanders. And you have to
right here, they're not going to double team Mike.
You had to people that have that type of courage and keep going after it.
Look at that.
Jordan will go to the line as Elo.
Where's 1-on-5?
Now on this play, they'll try and keep Mike.
Where's the 1-on-5? Look what this
Jordan out of the middle. Didn't matter.
That man legitimately turned his back to Michael Jordan. What 1-on-5? Tell me what 1-on-5. This is why you get put in the dugout, Brandon, because you're not going to let me speak after your lies.
Well, first of all, you have the presumption that people care what you say. They don't.
Sit your ass down.
To sit in the dugout. You keep lying on Goat James Kingdom. Stop lying.
I was going to ask him some questions because he said a lot of things. He said sometimes sometimes, honestly, Brandon has some good takes sometimes, but then he mixed it with a lot of.
Brandon's never had a good take.
Okay, but he mixes it
Brandon's
with a lot
never.
of like a
It's
lot of
all
false
lies.
premises.
It's all lies. Because again, I'm gonna bring it
It
up here.
lies.
In 2011, LeBron James, he said, remember, he said a significant drop off. Is 25% a significant drop off?
Yeah.
If Mike is over 40% a big drop off, he went from 1.5 blocks per game to 0.6 blocks per game. He went from 3 steals a game to 2 steals per game. That's 33%.
That's a good point.
He went to
I like how you measured that though.
He went from 6 assists in the regular season to 4.6 in that season. That's another drop off. The only thing that he went up in was in his field goal and his 3-point percentage because he only shot 3 threes. He was 1 for 3 the whole series. Or I think he was 2 for 6 or something like that. My bad. I think it was 2 for 6 the whole series. His points per game went down. That's 20%, 25%. And let's not bring up from the series before. And this is what they don't want to talk about here. This is the real thing. Is Jordan is known for scoring. Jordan averaged 35 points per game and went to 27 points per game. Then he went to 36 to 27. And then if you go to the actual series before, he goes from 45 to 27. That is a 18-point drop-off.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
But the LeBron James one to the right is considered a failure. Like I already stated to you, if one is a meltdown, so is the other. It's your choice. We don't need MJ's 1988 meltdown to show that LeBron's better than him. We have real basketball knowledge to know that LeBron is better than him. We talk about greatness. It's the greatest player of all time, not the player who didn't fail the most time.
Right. Exactly. It makes the conversation much healthier, and you don't have to resort to all this fighting tooth and nail with all these narratives. Because it's like narrative stuff. When you say stuff like Tim Duncan was not in his prime in 2007,
Thank you. Another lie.
Right. What do you mean by prime? Because prime can be like, it depends
Dantley
on how
was in his prime. Like I said, Adrian Dantley wasn't in his prime. Joe Dumars wasn't in his prime. Rodman wasn't in his prime. Who was in their prime?
Exactly.
So I got some other people back. Ishmael, you want any last words up? Because I got some folks.
Like I said, just if people stop with all the narratives and stuff and stop saying with these terminologies, we can have a healthier dialogue. And
we can have a healthy dialogue with Brandon Katz because he doesn't let nobody speak. He was going to go on a whole soliloquy and keep lying, and then when it was time for us to address it, he was going to speak. So I put him in the dugout before he even got a chance to even do it.
Right.
So I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. You are a great support to us, man. We always appreciate you. Like I said, reach out to me, man. I got to get that stuff to you, all right, bro?
All right. No problem.
Appreciate you. So let me bring up. I got somebody here named Sway. Thanks for joining the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We're here talking Michael Jordan's 1988 epic meltdown. What's good, brother? What you got on today's topic?
Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's good, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Ajani? Hey, man, definitely big time supporter of your channel and all that. I watch FYF and all that too. You feel me? Yes, sir. But I just found it funny because as I was watching, I just seen literally, I literally seen Michael's man just no help defense, just rotate over, try to chase him over, and I mean, of course, it's gonna be buckets. But anyways, to me, it's really silly. It's really silly. And watching these, like what Lamont, when he shows his the games with the 80s games, because I didn't see the 80s games. I was born in the 90s, so like, you know what I mean. But I definitely try to pick up on them when I can. But to me, it's just funny when people act like nobody has weaknesses. Everybody has weaknesses, just like Bron, just like MJ did, just like everybody else. All the greats had weaknesses, but to make it seem like he was just perfect. Never missed this, never missed that. Come on. Like when the proof is right there in front of you and you still choose to be delusional, to me, that is asinine. I don't understand.
Yeah, look, here you go. He's in the comments again. This is what they're safe in the comments. He said Jordan had Sam Vincent. Sam Vincent scored 31 points in that series versus Detroit, the only game that they won. So again, Michael Jordan doesn't win because of Michael Jordan then. And that's all you're proving is that Michael Jordan only wins because he has a good team and he has other teammates to help him win. Which is what we've always tried to explain to you guys, that team win games, team win championships. not players. Not one individual player is ever going to win a championship because he's out there doing 1-on-5 like you're lying and saying Michael Jordan has. So at the end of the day, Michael Jordan choked by Zesty Jeffries' logic and their own standards. We didn't create this choking thing because none of this existed until Zesty Jeffries felt that they had to negatively talk about other players. And it took a life of its own, and now it's come back and fired on you because just like Sway just said here, when we go back and look at this footage, this is what Michael Jordan was doing when people played good defense on Michael Jordan.
A little bit now. You know, he's struggled in game 2 because he slightly turned his ankle.
Jordan, a Detroit fan, they've hit 4 of their first 5 field goals. Jordan for 2, no. And the Chicago crowd getting a little restless. Here's Jordan quickly to double team with Thomas, and he still hasn't fired.
It needs them both.
Quick double team on the baseline, now a triple, and Jordan is 0 for 5 from the field. Jordan cuts through left side, gets the pass from Sparrow, turns around, puts it up, no.
Detroit coming out and trapping Michael Jordan right at half court. So they're going to force him to give up the basketball.
Jordan with a jumper, no. Tip. Jordan. No, sir. Coming up next, Dallas and Denver in the NBA. Game 3 of that series from Reunion Arena. Rodman and Collins wanted a foul called on Dennis Rodman, didn't get it.
So that's what it was. Jordan choking. That's just what it was. Yeah, hey, I was just about to bring you up. You got any last words, Swade?
Yeah, before I get Johnny, before I get over, one last thing I wanted to say before I hop off. It's funny how, you know how they talk about LeBron 2007 and all that, right? It's funny how now that we're watching the 88 and we watching like him going against the Pistons, which is kind of reminiscent to LeBron going against the 2007 Spurs, right? It's basically one man versus the juggernaut. Now it's sympathetic, it's empathy, it's, oh, I understand this, I understand that. Y'all didn't understand that before, but y'all understanding now that y'all see that Michael Jordan was getting his head beat in 88. But, we're going to leave it there.
Hey, you dropped knowledge there, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you, Swade. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Also subscribe to FYF. Check out our memberships, bro. We're doing big things here in Goat James Kingdom. Thanks for the support, bro.
All right.
All right, peace. What's good? This is AR. I think this is Aaron, right?
Yeah, Aaron.
What's good, Aaron, man? Thank you for joining me. What's good, man? We here talking Michael Jordan. Are you here to be an MJ police or a Zesty Jeffrey? Which one are you going to be today?
MJ police, 100%.
MJ police.
you know these Jordan slurpers, bro. They go crazy, man. They're emotionally wrecked. They're emotionally wrecked.
So you trying to check me. You trying to make sure that I get pulled off like this.
You make me sick. Cuff him. You start running a respectable business, and I won't have to come in here and hassle you every night.
These guys are funny, man.
They're delusional, bro. These motherfuckers are delusional, bro. I swear to God, man. It's like
I'm listening.
Oh, it's like it's crazy, man. The way they bash LeBron's competition, the way they talk about how LeBron's failures. Yo, I've been watching YouTube and basketball since I've been watching basketball since I was a youngin', since the 80s, right? And from the 80s to like 2014, I've never heard anybody talk about longevity, stat padding, or any of this bullshit, right? But once people started labeling LeBron the GOAT, now they want to bash people's losses and shit. Nobody ever bashed Jerry West's losses, right? They never bashed Jordan's losses. They never critiqued Jordan or criticized Jordan on how Jordan's era was full of crackheads, drug abusers, and alcoholics. You know what I'm saying? Like they never talk about that. Len Bias, you know what I'm saying? Terry Cummings. They talk about how JJ Barea outplayed LeBron in the 2011 finals. But Terry Cummings outplayed Jordan in the first round of a playoff series, bro. And that nigga was a crackhead, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas are delusional, bro.
But to them, that never happened because they never really watched him.
You know why? Because they're in denial, bro. They can't let go of their childhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm never going to let go of my childhood hero. He's the best ever. Yo, check this out. I'm going to tell you like this. 95 to 97% of the teams that Jordan faced in the playoffs and the finals only had one score on it. You know what I'm saying? Jordan never faced a team that had 3 scorers that were averaging 20 points per game on one team, bro. This is 100% fact. I want somebody to name me one team that Jordan faced like that in the finals or the playoffs, bro. Not even
Name
Boston Celtics, bro.
All right, let's see. Brandon Katz. Let's see, Brandon. You can come back up, Brandon. I'm gonna put you in the dugout. If you go past the minute, I'm giving you 1 minute, Brandon. But if you go past the minute, you're going back in the dugout because I can't sit here. Can't have you sitting here lying and fabricating a bunch of nonsense, right? Because here it is. Let's just start with this. Let's just start with him saying this here. Because again, like I told y'all, he knows everybody that's on the Chicago Bulls team, but he doesn't know about the 2011 Heat. So he brought up Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley was only the second best scorer on the 2008. But Charles Barkley was one of the better rebounders on the whole NBA that year.
Facts.
He was one of the better rebounders that whole year. But they don't respect basketball. They're not basketball fans. They don't like rebounding. They don't like assists. They don't like that. They don't like rebounds. They are not real basketball fans.
It's just scoring to them, bro.
But then when we tell them Jordan scoring's not enough and he ended up choking, it's the other guy's got to step up and do all this other stuff. Now everybody else has to step up. Let's let Brandon step up again, y'all. Brandon, you will have a minute. You got any last words, Aaron?
No, I just wanted to say, man, like people try to like twist it on LeBron and try to say like on LeBron fans saying that we bash Jordan's losses, but we don't bash Jordan's losses or his failures. We just bash it because that's what they do to us. You know what I'm saying? Like we could never celebrate LeBron. So if you're gonna bash, we're gonna bash back, babe. You know what I'm saying? Especially me, I'm a bash forever. I'm gonna send 3,000 comments. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, bro. Take shots, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check us out every Sunday as well. You know, we go live.
Hell yeah, I'm always on, bro. I'm always on. Yo, y'all the best, bro. Hands down, man. Y'all the dudes, yo. Y'all the goats, man. For real.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to you, Aaron. So before I bring you up, Brandon, let me see what question you got for me, Rex. Shout out to Politicus Rex. Shout out to you, bro. Whatever question you got, let me know. Let's let Brandon step up with the cap. Now, Brandon, you got 1 minute once you start speaking.
I'll do what I want. Yeah, so to respond to the clown who said that, well, the 80s had his words, he said these crackheads, LeBron's playing in an era where 20% of the players in the NBA are 18 and 19-year-old kids. In the 80s and 90s, almost every NBA player played 3, if not 4 years in college. Jordan played 3 years. Duncan played 4, Shaq played 3, Ewing played 4. So the bottom of the roster when Jordan played was far better than the bottom of the roster when LeBron played because you have all these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids now who can't play worth a dick. And they're not physically ready to play either. The other thing is the Eastern Conference was complete trash for most of the time LeBron was in the East. Jordan played a 57-win Cavs team in the first round of the playoffs. LeBron's playing Brandon Jennings in the first.
Did I say no? Oh, shit. Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else. Say something else, nigga. Sit your ass down.
Stop lying, Brandon. The Cavs won 42 games in 1988. I already gave them their props. They were the second best defensive team in basketball. Why do you keep lying? I don't understand this.
Sit your $5 ass down before I make change. You fucked up big time. You're incapable of running this shit.
You are incapable of leading the Zesty Jeffries, Brandon. You are an embarrassment to them. The most of them left because I gave them a warning before the show. This is what you guys don't understand. This is GOAT James Kingdom.
This show is rated GJK. Extreme exposure warning. This show contains graphic images of Jordan's failures, constant critique of Jordan's game and legacy, graphic images of Zesty Jeffrey lies being exposed. This show may be offensive to Michael Jordan fans and Zesty Jeffries alike. Content is restricted to true basketball fans only.
Utah's Chuck Daly looks on.
Well, Chuck Daly naturally very concerned. He's just hoping that the shooting slump is over.
Pick and roll, Corzine spots up, really didn't roll. He is in. Clemson.
Horace Grant has been playing excellent basketball.
Jordan has yet to score. Dumars
Vincent, no. Detroit and Sally scores. No, it's funny for you and me, but not for Doug Collins.
I don't think Doug would laugh. Yeah, right. Corzine, Grant, Sellers, Jordan, and Rory Sparrow has come into the lineup for Sam Vincent.
Today, he's giving and taking right from that defense. Reading it beautifully.
Johnson and Thomas switch. Vincent fishes low.
The entire game is being played perimeter, and we're seeing no penetration and no low post play.
Horace Grant. Jordan sets up left side. Now he'll work the baseline. Sparrow.
That's Jordan being passive, scared, no will, no killer instinct, literally being punked by the Detroit Pistons in 1988, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer and Brandon Katz. You have now been exposed by the Exposer. Let's let Mojo Jojo get in the building. Thank you for joining me here on the Dope James Kingdom platform. We're also going live on FYF, so y'all make sure to check us out on the FYF platform as we are doing big things here. So Mojo, what do you got on today's discussion? We got Zesty Jeffries and their feelings.
Salute, bro. So I'm a basketball fan. I'm not necessarily a Jordan or LeBron fan, but I want to get your reaction on this though. So I feel like LeBron, the reason he's one of the greatest in my opinion is because he uplifts a team more than anybody in NBA history. He can uplift a team, but I think Jordan is more clutch. So I want to get your reaction.
Wow. Define clutch, because see, clutch is the same thing as choking. It's very vague. It's a very vague statement. If we go by the NBA clutch stats, LeBron James is the most clutch player in NBA history. Now, obviously, they don't have those numbers for everybody in NBA's history, but for the numbers that they have, he's the most clutch player. Jordan is known for being clutch because Jordan is going to take the last shot. That was something about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan felt that he had the best chance to score on his team. He felt that he was the best scorer in the league, which we all know he was at the time. So Jordan was never going to really give up the shot. We have footage of Scottie Pippen hitting a crucial three in the playoff game, and Jordan was upset about it because he wanted the ball. But mind you, I just showed you Jordan passing the ball when they needed him to do it the most, at least at that time. That was the best Jordan. I don't know what everybody talking about, 1988 Jordan. So this idea that Jordan's more clutch is based on stuff that we can't really prove, but Jordan's clutch and so is LeBron. At the end of the day, they're both great players. That's the reality of the facts. They're both great players. But we have a lot of Zesty Jeffries that you know, because like you said, you're not an MJ fan or a LeBron fan, that love to discredit LeBron. They'll tell you LeBron's not even a top 10 player.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think they're both GOAT status though? Do you believe they're both like
GOAT status is top 5 of all time, and Michael Jordan and LeBron James are top 5. Yes, they got GOAT status. Yes.
All right, that's all I had to say, bro. Salute to you. Salute to the chat, man. Have a good one, bro.
Man, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the channels. Make sure you check us out every Friday night. Also, check out tomorrow's show on FYF called Sports Talk Only. We do big things here. We only talk the game of basketball. No matter what they tell you, we are real basketball fans. And just because we're LeBron fans doesn't mean we can't talk the game. So I appreciate you, Mojo Jojo. That's such a cool name. Mojo Jojo was in the building. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. Let me bring up Ishmael, and I'll bring you up too, Mac. What's good? Let's get you going. What you got for me, Ishmael?
Yo, man, that was really hilarious. He compared crackheads to young NBA players.
talented young NBA players. You got to remember, in the 90s, that's when they started going after the younger players. That's because remember, the NBA had a rule: you couldn't be in the NBA without playing 4 years.
4 years,
until they got sued in the 70s. So what they did was they had what they call a hardship. If you were approved via hardship for the NBA, you can come in the league prior to your 4 years, which Moses Malone was able to do, and so was not Moses Malone, Dawkins. If I got his name correct, Dawkins, and there was another guy named Embry. I might get their names confused.
Wayne Embry.
Wayne Embry, exactly. I think no, Wayne Embry played in the 60s. It's another dude.
Daryl Dawkins.
Daryl Dawkins is one, and then there's another dude, and those are the only two guys that ever got hardship until Kevin Garnett in '95. And that's when the league started opening up more because again, the league expanded in the 90s, and they needed more players. So they couldn't wait for 4-year college guys. They were like, if you could come straight out of high school, we'll take you. That's why Kobe left early, Jermaine O'Neal, so many players, Tracy McGrady, Walter McCarty, many players around that time, Garnett, Everybody under the underclassmen. There was a big underclassmen thing that came into the NBA, and they were getting paid so much money they had to restructure contracts because people like Iverson were making so much money as rookies because these were the new stars supposedly of the NBA that they were trying to promote.
Didn't the 80s also have like 7 rounds, like until 88 or something like that?
Something like that. They had.
Like how is that a talented?
That's why I appreciate you, Politicus Rex. He be knowing that's his name, Bill Willoughby. That's his name. He was another player that got an NBA hardship.
You got to clip that, Johnny. He really compared crackheads to freaking like I've never heard that level.
He's been again. I guarantee you, he can't tell me who the starting five of the 2011 Heat team was. He can't tell me. He won't tell me. He don't know. But he knows all these players from the Bulls. But go ahead, Matt.
Since this is a choke, because I don't consider it as a choke. What do we consider LeBron James choke jobs? Is if we're going to compare, not what everybody else says. What do you guys think of LeBron James fans? What do you think is like his choke jobs like?
It's hard because again, 2007 wasn't really a choke. I did a whole.
I agree, it was.
I did a whole show about it as well. I did just like I did here. We did film study on it. I have film. We talked about it. We showed how they played their defense on him.
He wasn't favored to win.
I wasn't even favored to win because they talk about his shooting and how bad he shot the ball. Again, yeah, they forced him to shoot, but it wasn't like he wasn't forcing shots. So there was moments where he was just taking like 9-8 shots. He couldn't really find his shot. So
everybody knew LeBron wasn't going to win that series.
Well,
yeah. It's not just about win because again, they knew the Bulls were not going to win against Boston, but what did Jordan do? He gave us 63 points. You see what I'm trying to say? So that's what they're trying to say. Where is those big games? Where are those big moments? Even in 2011, after they had that horrible game 4, he had a triple-double in game 5, but nobody remembers that. So it's like, you see what I'm trying to say? Because everything is predicated on what we've been listening to. All this stuff is predicated on the media. Check this out, Mac. Just listen to this, Mac. I played you the Cleveland one. Let me play you the intro for the Detroit Pistons game in this game 3. Mind you, the Chicago Bulls just won game 2. Michael Jordan scored 36 points and it split 1-1. That back then, if you split a series like that, if you take a game on the road, that was big back then. Both teams were undefeated at home until that loss. So that means Chicago was coming into game 3. It was very, very hype. But listen to how they were talking about going into this game and talking about what was going on in general.
In Game 1, the success of the Detroit Pistons and Coach Chuck Daly was evident in the smiling face of Joe Dumars. It was Dumars who had a big defensive night and contained the explosive Michael Jordan. The Pistons were able to hit on all cylinders as they drove to a 1-game lead in the series. In Game 2, Michael Jordan was a study in determination. He would make Detroit pay dearly for its success in the opening encounter. Jordan was complimented by Sam Vincent, who picked up the offensive slack as the Bulls romped through the Silverdome to even the series at 1 game apiece. Now, Chicago has home court advantage in what now can be called a best-of-5 series. Detroit has shown they can slow Air Jordan down, but can they ground him?
Now, Mac, Chuck, do you see the difference?
The difference in what?
And how they presented the game and how they presented what was able for you to understand. They didn't talk nothing negative about either team. They didn't talk nothing negative about the Pistons losing game 2, which if the Detroit Pistons is the team that you say they shouldn't have lost game 2, they were supposed to win game 2, that they didn't talk negative about it. They basically talked about what was great about both teams and if those teams could sustain it. That's what we don't get today.
Commentating, you're supposed to be subjective and everything. You're supposed to.
You mean objective, not subjective.
Objective.
Yes, but we don't get that now. All we get is subjectivity today. So shout out to Politicus Rex. Let me get his comment. He said, Jordanaires get mad at me when I say the Heat lost in the 2011 because of Spoelstra got worked by experienced Rick Carlisle. Which is true. That's actually true. He did get out coached. Even Dwayne Wade and the Heat all admitted to it. They had to change their whole strategy. But it's just a layer of negativity that Zesty Jeffries have created because LeBron James has been so great that they ever since 2007. That's when LeBron ascended. Remember, LeBron's ascension was 2007. Jordan's ascension was 1988, and that's what they were afraid of because they saw what LeBron did in 07. So they were like, man, and which was greater than what Jordan did here in 88. And he wasn't even the league MVP or none of that.
Yeah, the only criticism I have of LeBron his first stint in Cleveland is 09. And he played great versus Orlando, but I'm like, bro, you was supposed to find a way to get that done. The window was open, Boston was hurt. But other than that, I mean, he didn't have no chance to beat nobody in the playoffs with the teams he had his first stint in Cleveland. But I mean, after that, when he goes to Miami, then yeah, you can criticize him for his wins or losses. That's when he had enough years under his belt, MVPs, and he got a team around him. Now let's see what you could do. But Jordan in 88, like, come on, bro. He was not favored to beat the Pistons.
Bruh, you don't understand how great Michael Jordan was and how they were hyping him. Again, the Detroit Pistons were not nobody at that time. They lost.
Yes, they were.
No, they were not. Okay, Mac, what did they have in 1988 to make you say that they were a great team? What did they accomplish as a team, or what did any individual player they had accomplish as an individual player?
For Isaiah was a superstar. What are we talking about?
How is Isaiah a superstar? He wasn't even an All-NBA player.
Isaiah, first of all, he's behind Magic. That's number one as a point guard. Number two, to say Isaiah was not a superstar is crazy.
There's four guards. There were four guards selected. There's 4 guards selected to the All-NBA team in 1988. He was
okay. Name the second guard. Name the second guard.
It was Michael Jordan and Magic in the first team. So you tell me he couldn't make the second team?
Who made the second team?
It wasn't Isaiah Thomas. I can tell you that much.
Okay, so name a guard.
I don't know what guard. I don't know what the
that's
other
what
guard
I'm saying.
was, but it wasn't Isaiah
You
Thomas.
can say that.
Let's go.
You can say the All NBA, but there wasn't a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas in the 80s, other than Magic.
So he should have made the second team then. Why didn't he make the second team?
No, that it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work like that all the time. Like we know that. The point is the Bad Boy Pistons.
Go ahead.
The Bad Boy Pistons by 88 were the next team up. They already took the Celtics 7 the year before in 87. They almost beat the defending champions. In 88, they were on course to go up against the Celtics, in which they did beat them that year in 88 in 6 games. They were the next team up in that Eastern Conference to come up. The Pistons was not worried about no Michael Jordan. They was looking at the Boston Celtics and the Lakers. They wasn't worried about,
because they know they could shut Michael Jordan down. They knew he was going to choke.
Correct. Just like Larry Bird knew he wasn't worried about no Jordan. You score your 63. We getting ready to sweep you. The Pistons was next up. We not worried about Jordan. We chasing after the Celtics. These are facts. But to say that Michael Jordan, who wasn't favored to beat an all-time great team, is choking versus them is crazy.
They were not an all-time great team. That 1988 team didn't accomplish nothing.
God. Yes, they were.
No, they weren't.
Can I ask McDuff a question? Let me ask McDuff. So I think what Ajani is saying is like beforehand they won the championship and stuff and became great in the record books. What were they considered to be like a contender? Like before the
Pistons won. The Pistons won.
Yes.
No, there wasn't. The only contender was Boston. Even that, they were not supposed to beat Boston. The Pistons.
Johnny, I'm gonna raise my hand. I'm just gonna raise my hand. And when we say that the 80s, when we say that,
hold on, Mac. No, Mac. No. I'm telling you that the Detroit Pistons won 53 games. The Chicago Bulls won 50. And they were not that much better than the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls had the number 1 defense. They were not. The Chicago Bulls had the better team. They had the league MVP.
Who was in the Eastern Conference the year before?
The year before don't matter. We're talking about 1988.
Okay, then. So if I'm in the Eastern Conference and I'm taking the Boston Celtics, who was looked at the greatest team of all time, and I took them 7, and I come back the next year better, I'm not a contender?
In 1986, the Detroit Pistons lost in the first round 3-1.
I said in 87.
Why you only going to 87? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Because I told you, because he asked me, were the Pistons a contender? I was in the Eastern Conference Finals in 87, taking on the greatest team of all time. And then the next year I was better in 88. Yes, I'm a contender. Those are facts.
You are not a contender because you make the Eastern Conference Finals. That doesn't
The Pistons weren't a contender in 87. Are you? Oh my
I remember
God,
asking
bro.
you a goddamn thing.
Sit your ass down.
I had to sit you down in the dugout as well, bro. You are a liar. I asked you, what did they accomplish as a team? Nothing. They were nothing in 1988. They were a team that took Boston 7 games. That is the all-time great team because they took Boston to a 7 games. Although the year before that, they got knocked out the playoffs in the first round. The year before that, they got knocked out in the second round. The year before that, they were knocked out in the first round. The year before that, they weren't even a playoff team. So how are the Detroit Pistons in 1988 any greater than a team that has the league MVP, the defensive player of the year, an all-NBA first-team player, an all-defensive first-team player, the league scoring champ, and the league steal titles leader? Why are you keep giving credit to the Detroit Pistons, but when I tell you guys that the Dallas Mavericks were better than the 2011 Heat, you're going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? The Chicago Bulls had a chance of beating the Detroit Pistons that damn series, but Jordan choked. If Jordan gives them 35 points, 36 points per game, they win that series. That's what he normally does. That's not asking Jordan to do nothing special. You guys wanted LeBron James in this series not to do what Dwayne Wade did. You wanted him to do what Jordan does, score 35 points per game and beat Dallas. Because if he would have scored 25 points per game and won that series and Dwayne Wade would have got MVP or something like that, y'all still would have been making fun of LeBron James for 2011. Stop lying for these Zesty Jeffries. I know you want to be the MJ police, but I already told you it doesn't bode well for y'all because this is how y'all sound when y'all try to be the MJ police.
Tell Mom I'm on official police business. Special Officer Doopy reporting. Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law. Hey, no talking to the witness.
Like, I can't take it, bro. I let you speak, man. And I got nothing but respect for you, Mac. But I'm not going to let y'all lie when I'm here showing you the footage and the evidence of everything. The Detroit Pistons didn't do nothing in 1988 but beat Michael Jordan. That's how they became the team that they were. That's how they became the bad boy Pistons. That's how they got on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Because every year they faced Michael Jordan, they kept telling y'all, Michael Jordan sucks. We don't fear Michael Jordan. We never feared him. Of course they never feared him because he don't know how to play the game of basketball. He had to learn that from Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson. When this guy's going to sit here and tell me Scottie Pippen didn't do nothing, Scottie Pippen didn't do this, how the hell is Scottie Pippen the player of a game in an elimination game for Michael Jordan?
Yeah, that's just proof in the pudding right there that Scottie Pippen was impactful if he was player of the game. I don't see how anybody could really argue against that.
And fuck the Detroit Pistons. He was doing this against the damn Celtics, left and right. But if Michael Jordan was good enough to beat the Detroit Pistons, he would have been able to beat the Celtics in 1988 as well, just like the Pistons did. But Jordan choked. He underperformed, however y'all want to call it. It was a meltdown by every Zesty Jeffrey standards. And you are not going to boost up a team that had no all-NBA player, no all-defensive player, one all-star, 120 point per game score, and make it seem like they were all this wild team. Isaiah Thomas made 5 all-NBA selections his whole NBA career. Matter of fact, he never made an all-NBA team after 1987. You know who was the other all-NBA player? It was John Stockton and Clyde Drexler. So obviously he wasn't even the second best point guard because John Stockton was considered better than him. He wasn't defensively better because they had Fat Lever on the all-defensive team. So he wasn't even better defensively than Fat Lever. Like, y'all got to stop the lying. You can't keep protecting the Zesty Jeffrey lies because in GOAT James Kingdom, it's only going to get exposed.
So they had all defense, all defensive team in the Detroit Pistons.
LeBron James never lost a series versus a team that had no all NBA player, no all defensive player on their roster.
Oh, damn.
Never.
Wow. Well.
And again, it wasn't just that year. It was multiple years. Because again, if you look to the left, This is the MJ that Mac wants us to believe always existed. Averaging 40 points per game in 5 different NBA series in the NBA during the 80s and the 90 series in the 90 season. This is prime MJ. This is all NBA first team MJ, all defensive first team MJ, scoring champ MJ. This is what this is right here. But when he goes up against Detroit, we don't see that no more. He lets puny Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars do this to him, embarrass him, and put him on Sports Illustrated. Y'all know what Sports Illustrated was in 1989? Politicus Rex, can you explain to them what Sports Illustrated was in 1989? This is like Facebook. This was on every newspaper stand in America. Available for everybody to see. Right here. But you guys were not born. You guys weren't even around for this. You never saw it. And because of that, you want to give excuses for Michael Jordan. But it don't happen here in GOAT James Kingdom. This is GOAT James Kingdom. We're going to keep exposing you, Zesty Jeffries, because that's exactly what needs to happen. No more saving them. No more saving them. But I'm gonna keep putting the link up because I obviously Mac is a brave young man. I appreciate you, Mac, because you definitely do better than Brandon. You definitely do better than Brandon.
I'm trying to talk basketball, bro. It's not.
But you're not
But
you're not letting me talk. You're not letting me get my take in, bro. I heard you lie.
So
now let me explain to you why you're lying.
I tried to ask his question.
Yeah, I know you answered. So MacDev is your only. So the way you think that they were contenders is what they did from last year, and because of their record, that the current 88 year is that why you say they were a contender and why they were an all-time great team? Is that why?
Yeah. So what the Pistons were, they were up and coming. They were knocking on the door. They got upset in '86 in the first round, and then in '87 they made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And took on the defending champions, the Boston Celtics, who everybody kind of perceived was the greatest team at that time. Because in '86, the Celtics won the championship. So in '87, the Pistons take on them in the Eastern Conference Finals. It goes a classic 7-game series and everything. All-time great Game 7, and they lose. They come back the next year. They were better. They had Adrian Dantley, Isaiah Thomas. They were worried about the Celtics. They weren't worried about Jordan. The year before, Jordan got swept. They weren't worried about Jordan. Jordan was great individually, but didn't nobody think the Bulls was going to beat the Pistons in '88. The Pistons they were contenders, and they got robbed from the Pistons should have won the championship in '88. They got robbed in the finals versus the Lakers. So yes, they were contenders all the way.
So you're saying that people were thinking that the Bulls were not in the way for the Detroit Pistons to get into the finals, basically.
Correct. In '88, a diehard Bulls fan, because my dad is from Chicago, bro, from the south side of Chicago. He's grew up Bulls, everything Chicago, Jordan fan. In '88, didn't nobody think the Bulls was gonna beat the Pistons. In '89, we was ready. We wanted to see it. We was ready in '89. In '89, we was ready, but the Bad Boy Pistons is one of the greatest teams of all time. In '90, I say they choked. In '90,
okay, I want to ask Ajani something. Let me ask Ajani. So Ajani, is there like news clippings or like articles that refute his point about this?
Try to bring something up that says the Bulls was favored to beat the Pistons.
Yes, they were, because again, Michael Jordan's '88 season. Yes. No one expected the Bulls to win 50 games. They won 40 games the year before. The Pistons won 52 games in '87, won 54. I'm sorry, I said 53 before. They won 54 in '88. That's a 2-game extra lead. They were such in turmoil when they got into '89. They traded Andrew Dantley away. They lost Rick Mahorn after '89. Like these niggas don't know history. I was alive then. I remember, just like he was telling me his dad and all that, I remember my uncles and them crying year after year because Jordan kept choking against the Detroit Pistons. I keep giving you the numbers. It's available for all of you guys to see.
Was Jordan and the Bulls favorite to beat the Pistons in '88?
By the time they got to the playoff times, yes, everybody was expecting the Bulls, especially after they won game 2. You can have all you want to, Mac. You can have all you want to, Mac.
Okay, like McDev, yeah, I see. Bro, he's saying that by the time of the playoffs, because with the season, with the regular season,
Oh my goodness gracious!
Defensive Player of the Year, they were expected to beat Detroit, right?
Why? But why though? Why?
Because
the playoff, they weren't favored, bro.
And as good as the Chicago Bulls were, they had the number 1 defensive basketball. They won 50 games. They were playing real good. Again, against the Detroit Pistons that same season.
Who had the number 1? Who had the number 1 defense?
The Bulls did. They were the number 1 defense. Again, we've had this conversation. Defensive rating didn't exist. They went by points per game. That's always been how you grade defense.
But just because it didn't exist doesn't mean that's how you gauge who was the number 1 ranked defense.
Again, they didn't have the number. It's in 1988, and I told you who had the number 1 defense. Where are they going to go to?
But even if they did, where were the Pistons' defense?
I think they were like 4th or 3rd.
So
Johnny, hold on. Let me just say this real fast. This is like the best show ever because it's gone on super long. I'm not going to stay on here forever. Just want to give a quick shout out to my guy AAR or Aaron for coming up. First time, he sounded great, man. Show up on Sunday. It'll be awesome. Sound like a real pro. He always drops extreme knowledge in the chat. Same thing with guy Tony Boots and all those guys. Fuck you, Rex. Just kidding. I think you're goat. And Ishmael, you've come a long way. Your takes are getting more and more refined as you develop your knowledge base. I like that a lot. And Lowe's here. So shout out Lowe. Big fan, low key. Never had a chance to chop it up with him, but for his takes, they're always goated. And I'll leave you guys to it.
Ishmael, there is an article who they were showing who was the favorite. He just put it up. It showed Joe Dumars giving Michael Jordan the Heisman. That's all you need to know right there in the 80s. They was not worried about that man. He wasn't favorite. You just put up the article yourself, John. Like, come on.
Well, Mac, you're done for the day, sir. Let's let Politicus Rex get in here for a second, and we'll continue the conversation if you got some time. But go ahead, Politicus Rex. Thank you for joining me. Politicus Rex is also our historian. He was watching basketball at the time. Can you help us understand what was going on in 1988, please?
Well, more than watching in '89, I actually played with Adrian Dantley in '89. But that's a whole separate thing.
And because you're not a Zesty Jeffrey, I actually believe you. If it was a Zesty Jeffrey saying it, I would say you were lying. But go ahead.
Well, I'm Jeffrey McZesty. Can't you read my name?
I do see that.
No, actually, I wanted to come on because I've been trying to get you in the comment section of another of your videos where you left me a question mark.
Oh, remember, our channel is run by 2 separate individuals. The question mark wasn't by me, but I think you answered it correctly. I think you responded correctly. Well, you were. I think you.
So you did read it.
Yeah, I did. But when I read your initial comment, I took it as you being sarcastic. Correct?
No, not at all.
I don't remember.
So you didn't read. Okay, no. When you're talking about Kobe and Jordan together didn't equal what LeBron has done. Mm-hmm. Basically, in a nutshell, I was saying, well, yeah, that 2 guards don't equal a forward. And what I meant was they're 6'6", 200, 6'6", 210. He's 6'9", 250. They're not built to get 27, 7.5 for 2 decades. Their bodies can't hold up. They're too small. They can't do it. That does.
I mean, Kobe played 20 years, but it's always a forgiving excuse for Kobe. But that's fine.
No, he did play 20 years, but he didn't put up 27, 7.5, and 7.5, did he?
Yeah, no. I mean, this was the thing. We were just trying to show how many games each player scored at each individual average. So obviously, a lot of people say 46-5 is the greatest average set of all time. So then we wanted to just see how many games.
It wasn't.
Yeah, how many games Michael Jordan, LeBron, and them had that? And obviously, LeBron had more games than both of them put together when we did those type of things. Because no matter what people say, contrary to belief, your average is not actually what happened. It's just your calculations of your totals. So at the end of the day, Jordan didn't score 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 majority of his career. I think it's like only 100-something games he did it in reality. So it is what it is. Mess with the zesty.
No, that's what I mean. But you see it. Everyone, all the fans of any players, the reason they're fans of that player is because they see that player as more than what they are. Because all of them are, in the end, they're just players.
Well, they're all great. They're all great.
They're all great.
That's always been the thing. If you're a real basketball fan, you see the greatness in all of these players without looking for any flaws in anyone's game. You recognize them for how great they was.
Yeah,
that's really it.
But
that's all it is.
Guards are not gonna. They're not going to be able to put up that kind of production across the board in all the offensive stats at that level for that long. They're just not. They're not heavyweights.
No,
they're welterweights.
We know that. No, we know
that. They can't do it. But you can't tell that to a Jordan fan because they'll freak out and be like, "Well, Jordan is Superman, and if he had wanted to do it, he could have done it." And blah, 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 and all that is like, if he could have done it and didn't, then he's a failure. That means he did not reach his full potential. So which is it?
I don't know. Listen, I think
exactly. That's the extreme. What I was doing was taking the extreme take in the other direction. If they're going to be extreme one way, you say, okay, well, fine. Then why didn't he?
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing here with the choking thing.
That's my point. Yeah, that's my point.
Lo is very famous for this. Shout out to you, Lo. Thank you for joining me, man. This is the first time on a Friday night exposure with the Exposer. But you are also somebody that loves to talk about playoff translation and dropping and things of that nature. So obviously this was something that I brought up because I was able to find footage. I don't know if you watched the 1988 Game 3 on FYF Sports Debate, but it showed Jordan. That was the game he scored 24 points. He didn't play too well. He was forced to shoot on the outside, and he couldn't do that much. And all the zesty Jeffrey lies about physicality, hand checking didn't exist. It was just good defense by Detroit and Jordan not figuring out how to handle it. And if Lamont's correct, is negative 110 considered a favorite or not a favorite? How does that?
Lamont needs to put that link in the chat before I believe anything that he's saying.
That means a favorite, correct?
No, just put the link in the chat. You put the link in the chat.
To you, though. So what you got on this discussion, brother? Peace. Thank you.
Someone playing poorly against or dropping in some capacity against one of the better defenses is common. That's not that big of a deal. Secondly, someone also performing in a way in which that against a team in which their offense was significantly better than the Bulls also doesn't make any sense either. So you're saying that they're favorite because he was a number 1 ranked defense, but
no, that's not what I said. I'm tired of people making excuses for the Bulls. They had number 1 ranked defense. They won 50 games.
What were their offense?
Let me go check. I think they were in the middle of the pack. I can go double check that. Detroit's Pistons offense in 1988 was 8th out of 23, and they were 3rd in defense. But let's go to the Chicago Bulls in that same year. Chicago went 50 and 32. And Chicago had the 19th ranked offense, but they did have the number 1 ranked defense. So they had one of the worst offenses in the league. Yes.
Okay. So if we're talking about one team that is top, 3 or 5 on both sides of the floor, and another team is like literally at the bottom of the league on one side of the floor. Again, unless Lamont can show me like the link to where they are, well, I'm kind of confused.
So are you saying because the Chicago Bulls offense was horrible, it should have been expected for them to lose? So why did they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had a worse offense than them?
If I'm not mistaken, in that year in Cleveland, Mark Price wasn't healthy that entire series.
Oh, so now we're going on to injury. So you're not going to give Scottie Pippen his props for helping them win a Game 5 and end up being the game of the.
Is that? I could be wrong though. Is that the series where Jordan makes that shot?
What shot? No, that's not.
Okay,
89.
89 is the year.
Let me give you a little example of why Scottie Pippen's the man.
CBS Sports welcomes you again to the exciting 1988 NBA playoffs. After 3 periods of play, in which the winner will move on and the loser goes home. The deciding game of this first round, the Chicago Bulls outscored the Cavaliers 10-1 to take their first lead, and they did it with Michael Jordan on the bench. They have rallied from 18. Mike Sanders goes in and scores, and it's a one-point game. We have talked about Cleveland. Michael Jordan hit only 2 of his first 6 from the field midway through the second period. Since then, 9 of 12 and 33 points. But Scottie Pippen has been the other man for the Bulls this afternoon.
Well, right now, he is the man, the way he's performed in this second half of this Chicago team.
96-92 Chicago, under 4 minutes.
So, Lo, even with the brilliance of Michael Jordan in this particular series, as we know, Michael Jordan did average 45 points per game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The first 4 games, he was averaging 47. So Jordan was having actually a great series. They even pointed out in this game how Jordan was basically playing by himself. They put Scottie Pippen in the starting lineup for the first time in his career. They actually told him that before the game. And this is what ended up happening. And he ended up winning. And Jordan actually played bad. He had some horrible moments at the end of the game. So I don't know what happened to you, Lo. Let me bring you back up. I don't know if you got off on your own, if you had to. But either way, Scottie Pippen actually helped them win that series. He would have choked that series if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen. So, I mean, that's just the facts. So, I wasn't alive. I'm going to say alive. I wasn't around watching this. I was only 7 years old, right? And when we watch, again, go watch it. It's available for any of y'all to go watch. I always tell us the eye test is what matters the most, right? If we go watch it, right, and you go literally see in that game, this is what they were saying about Michael Jordan.
Winding down to 2 minutes to go in the first half. Elo, he has hit 7 big points.
Bad defense by
He has
Michael
8 in the
Jordan.
ball game, but 7 came after the Chicago Bulls had made a great run.
Again, the same thing. Jordan looking to go to the weak side. He's going to try and power the ball to the middle.
And stolen by Harper with 2 minutes to go. 94-90 Chicago.
Now here's the value of a Rory Sparrow, that veteran who knows how to get the ball to Jordan.
Jordan loses it going in, but it's last touched by Nance.
I can't remember Michael Jordan losing the ball or making as many bad passes in a ball game as he has today.
He may say when it's over, win or lose, that it's one of the toughest games he's had to play.
So that was Michael Jordan. Obviously, I saw the same thing because this was Michael Jordan, what he was doing in that game, because they were literally choking. You ready to come back up? No, give me a thumbs up if you're ready, brother. This is what happened before they went on that 10-1 run that ended up giving them the first lead of that game. Mind you, it's the game 5, most important game in Jordan's career at that time. And MVP of the league. All I keep hearing about 1988 makes Michael Jordan the GOAT. I've heard this plenty of times, though, that only 1988 alone can make Michael Jordan the GOAT. This is what was happening before that run.
9 rebounds for Charles Oakley, and Jordan overthrows Pippen, who winds up 4 rows into the press sector. Price missed, and Williams has the shot blocked.
Jordan got that one.
Great defense by Michael Jordan.
Pippen can't hold on. So 2 fast break opportunities by the Bulls goes by the boards. And it's 72-68. You've got to admire the Cavaliers. They're poised. 18-point lead cut to 1. Chicago tied it up, and then Cleveland scored 4 in a row to keep their lead and get the ball back on a turnover.
That's the 3rd turnover for Jordan
in a row. Williams hits 12 on the shot clock. Jordan has it knocked away by Harper.
Watch him pull up for the 3.
Price with Paxson in his face hits the 3-point shot, and it's 104-101. 33 seconds to go. Price hit it with Paxson in his face.
In his face. That was the hurt, John. That was the hurt Mark Price there. But as you can see there, that the Bulls were down 18 that game. They brought it down to 5 by halftime, but the Cavaliers kept bringing it up and kept putting it around 8 or 9 points. They made a run in the 3rd quarter. Jordan actually hit a jumper to make it 66-66, and then you saw those turnovers happen in a row. The Cleveland Cavaliers ended up taking a good lead, and then they took Jordan off the floor, and that's when the Bulls went on that 10-1 run with Scottie Pippen on the floor. So that's what ended up happening in that game. And that last turnover was late in the game. And in reality, right before that play on that last turnover we just saw with Jordan, where Mark Price hit that jumper, Ron Harper had turned over the ball on a fast break that really hurt them. That if he would have actually got that ball, they could have scored. It could have made a difference. But they were talking about Jordan playing bad. But obviously, 39 points is considered great. The Chicago Bulls won. Nobody talks about it. It's 45 points per game. Michael Jordan's first playoff series win.
What was the Cavaliers offense that
21st?
Okay, so
yeah.
Were they a worse offense than the Bulls that year?
Yeah, I know, but they struggled to beat that team because Jordan was struggling. Because Jordan didn't play good basketball as a team basketball player. He took a lot of great shots.
He didn't play good basketball because he had a bad game. He had 7 turnovers. He didn't play good basketball.
No, he didn't play good basketball because, like I always tell you, when it comes down to the playoffs and team can strategize against you and you have to really play good basketball, Jordan couldn't do it at that moment in time. Yeah, he can score for you. That's great, but that's not going to be enough to win. You know better than that. That's why you say Will Chamberlain.
But being able to win and playing good basketball are two different things.
But that's not what Zesty Jeffrey say.
But we're having a conversation.
No, I know you. I mean, obviously we're having. 40, but my show is predicated on Zesty Jeffries. I don't know if you watched the show.
Okay, and that's fun, but it's arguing. I just feel like making a statement like that. Yes, he had a game where he had 7 turnovers because I don't think anybody at that point would ever surmise that he was the passer that he needed to be, which is why the triangle offense really aided him in a lot of capacities. But he averaged 45, 5, and 5 with 3 steals and a block and a half and shot 56% from the field and 92% from the free throw line. He played amazing. Like I don't know what we're and
yeah, Sunshine MJ. There it is right there. You're right. Sunshine MJ.
But by the logic of like the concept of who this team is supposed to be in contrast to who the Bulls are supposed to be in many capacities, like they're not too far removed from one another, especially because in a regular season they probably the Cavaliers probably would have won more games if like Larry Nance and Ron Harper and them were 100% healthy throughout the season and played more games. You could very well argue that the 42-win record that the Cavaliers had wasn't an accurate depiction of how good they actually were. They were probably a much better team. But when Larry Nance in the regular season only plays 27 games and Ron Harper only plays 57 games in the regular season, then their record and what they did in the regular season isn't maybe an accurate depiction of who they actually were.
If I'm correct,
they had a better record than the Bulls the next year.
They traded because the Bulls did a downgrade because they gave the ball more to Mike. Didn't they trade for Larry Nance that year? Did Larry Nance get traded to them? That's why he only played 27 games. I don't think he was injured. Can you double check that for me, Lo, since you're doing your research?
There you go. Yeah, he was traded. So they he made an upgrade to the roster mid-season.
They did. That's true. And I'm not saying the Cleveland Cavaliers. What I'm saying is that the difference between all 3 of these teams is not as great as you're trying to make the Detroit Pistons. They're all equal. They all could beat one another. The Bulls could have beat that Piston teams if Jordan played correctly. Because instead of Sunshine Jordan, what we got was choking Jordan.
But why? Why are you saying that? Why is it that you believe that team that's top 10 on both sides of the floor won more games in the regular season than they did as well, and they also have an addition of Adrian Dantley that made them even more formidable? Why do you believe that team had the capacity of beating that team?
Because Jordan actually averaged 38 points per game versus them during that season. And in that last game that year against them, he scored 59 points. And that's that famous game that Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars talked about that kept them up all night because of what Jordan did against them. Jordan at that season and what the Bulls were doing with the defense that they were playing, with the team that they had, as good as the Bulls were expected to do better than what they did. We're not supposed to lose 3 straight games where Michael Jordan gives you 24, 23, and 25 points, where he goes under 50% shooting. He turns over the ball less. He doesn't play the defense that he's supposed to play. Isaiah Thomas goes ham. Dantley goes ham. Now, Dantley's a different subject because they had Pippen on Dantley. They didn't have Jordan on Dantley, but Jordan could have been sticking Isaiah Thomas instead of Joe Dumars, which he did try to stick Thomas, but Thomas was doing his thing as well. Thomas was able to average over 20 points per game, which he didn't do during the regular season. But Jordan giving you 3 straight duds is why they lost this series. And the fact that he wasn't able to do what he normally did during the regular season is why they were not competitive in this series. And then
but what is the odds that somebody
he goes into the next season? It's the same thing. The odds. This is the odds here, Lo. During that same run, Michael Jordan averaged 40 points per game versus every other team besides the Detroit Pistons. So I'm giving you 5 other series. Again, the Cleveland Cavaliers in 89, which y'all claim was a better team in 89 than the Bulls. He still went up for 40 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists on 52% shooting.
But why?
But how
did they match up? But how did Cleveland match up against Jordan?
Oh, I could show you that. No, I'll show you that. I'll show you that. I'll show you exactly how they matched up against Michael
You
Jordan.
trying to rewrite history is crazy.
I'm not trying to rewrite history. I'm trying to expose Zesty Jeffrey lies. This is what I do.
Cavaliers was on the
I
bad
told
boy
you before the
Pistons
stage
level.
started. This
That's
is what it was
crazy.
going to be.
This show is rated GJK. Extreme exposure warning. This show contains graphic images of Jordan's failures, constant critique of Jordan's game and legacy, graphic images of Zesty Jeffrey lies being exposed. This show may be offensive to Michael Jordan fans and Zesty Jeffries alike. Content is restricted to true basketball fans only.
The one thing when you play Jordan, you notice how they're backing off defensively. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside. You notice how they're backing off defensively. You notice how they're backing off defensively. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside. They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside.
They're saying to Jordan, beat us from the outside.
But if you get to the middle, we're going to all be there to give some help. And they do converge, and Harper makes an excellent steal.
Second foul for Doherty. Jordan with a fake goes to the hoop and draws another foul. He'll shoot two. He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy. He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy.
He's going to see a lot of physical contact because that's one of the strategy
that Lenny Wilkins will use defensively against Michael.
So as you asked, Lo, how did they play him? Obviously, the way they played him was they let Michael Jordan roam freely. We always talk about on-ball defense, how good being an on-ball defender is. You can't let somebody just dribble wherever they want on the basketball court, which is what they literally let him do. Now, you and I are basketball fans. Like I told you, it's content for true basketball fans. Let me show you how bad the Cleveland Cavaliers played defense on him. I'm going to unmute you when the thing comes up so we can talk about it in the middle of this. But pay attention to this. Let's just go ahead and watch how bad they don't double team him. They just give Jordan the floor to just roam and do whatever he wants.
But we have two players out here that were free agents that are on the court right now for this Cleveland team, and that's Craig Eglow and Mike Sanders. And you have to
they won't let me unmute you, but you see right here, they're not going to double team Jordan. Watch how much space
have
he
that
has.
type of courage and keep going after it.
Jordan will go to the line as Elo.
Yeah, go ahead, Lo.
Now on this play, they'll try and keep Michael.
That's kind of my point. The point I'm making is
Jordan out of the middle.
That's kind of my point. The point I'm making is that the defensive scheme for the Cavaliers wasn't the same as the defensive scheme for the
I agree.
And for whatever reason, I don't know why they didn't put Ron Harper, which is something Ron Harper spoke about pretty often, that they didn't put him on him. They spent way too much time with Craig Elo on him. The Pistons just had more defensive weapons to defend Michael Jordan.
They had a better strategy, not just more weapons. They literally kept Dumars on him. They just double teamed him in the right spots of the floor. They made it tough for him to find his spots and where he wanted to go. They just didn't let him roam freely. So let me show you how they played him in game 3. I'm going to show you the Detroit Piston game. This is Detroit Pistons.
Will they make them? They are averaging 38% of the 2 games against Chicago.
Strom did see it, and he made the call.
Vincent passes on the shot. Horace Grant takes it, doesn't read the same. When's the last time you can recall almost 9 minutes gone in the game and Jordan scoreless? He is so far. He's only taken 2 shots. Here's Sam Vincent.
Razzing the Pistons to play perimeter basketball, which is not a strong suit.
Sally goes down to the double on Jordan.
Great pass.
And they misfire. Here's the
watch how quick Detroit, how they're getting to Michael Jordan. 2 guys on him right away, so he must pass the basketball.
They've switched now, and there's another steal. Vinny Johnson, 3 on 2. And the lead is back to 15. It was 14 at the half. Chicago cut it to 10. That's as close as they've been since the opening moments of the game.
There's your double team.
Rodman and Johnson on Jordan, Oakley. That was for 2 and Lamb.
So as you can see, they played way better defense than the Cleveland Cavaliers did. They decided to do way better, and they had a way better strategy than the Cleveland Cavaliers did.
So if you believe that, then why are you blindly comparing the numbers between? Why are you saying that? Look how great he was against these teams, but then when he got to Pistons, when you know the answer is that the Pistons' defensive scheme and personnel was better than the other teams.
Because Michael Jordan got punked, he shouldn't have been playing like this.
Utah's Chuck Daly looks on.
Well, Chuck Daly naturally very concerned. He's just hoping that the shooting slump is over.
Pick and roll, Corzine spots up, really didn't roll. He is in, Clemson.
Horace Grant has been playing excellent basketball.
Jordan has yet to score. Dumars. Vincent, no.
Detroit and Sally scores.
No, it's funny for you and me, but not for Doug Collins.
I don't think Doug would laugh.
Yeah, right.
Corzine, Grant, Sellers, Jordan, and Rory Sparrow has come into the lineup for Sam Vincent.
Today, he's giving and taking right from that defense. Reading it beautifully.
Johnson and Thomas switch. Vincent fishes low.
The entire game is being played perimeter, and we're seeing no penetration and no low post play.
Horace Grant. Jordan sets up left side. Now he'll work the baseline. Sparrow.
I don't think that does any. I actually think that makes Jordan look better. I don't know why you think that makes Jordan look better.
No.
That makes
Glad
him
that
look
you
better.
said that. I'm glad that you said that because though you're one of those that I've heard say that Jordan never had these moments in the playoffs. Jordan was very passive, and that's why he wasn't. It wasn't Jordan shooting as far as he couldn't score or things of that nature. Jordan was scared to take the shots that he normally takes. He was scared to be aggressive against the Detroit Pistons.
Doesn't that contradict everything that you criticize against?
No, that's not. No, it's not because that's exactly what Michael Jordan fans say he doesn't do. That he doesn't allow teams to do that.
No. I'm speaking to you specifically. Isn't your criticism that Jordan should have been more of a passer, that he should have been more team-oriented and got his more teammates involved? But if you're then showing me moments in which he did so, but his teammates weren't good enough in the moment to do it, wouldn't that go against what you're saying for him to? Because he might have racked up more assists or looked better statistically if his teammates were better.
That's false. He is not doing what his teammates expect him. They're not expecting him to pass the ball. That's why Scottie Pippen fumbled the ball. Not expecting. Jordan wasn't doing that the regular season. That's not how the Bulls win. Oh wait, that's not how the Bulls wins games. From my understanding, that's not how they win games.
So Michael Jordan was supposed to carry this team.
Yeah, no, I'll let you speak. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but you have to understand this: that Michael Jordan taking 8 less shots per game or 6, 7 less shots when he's being that passive, when those are the moments they're not double teaming him, where he has the ability to be aggressive.
They weren't showing multiple bodies in those clips you just showed me.
I just showed you multiple sections and times where Michael Jordan was quickly passing the basketball. Let's watch this again. Again, your eye test is always something. Make sure you clear your glasses up.
Hey, Johnny, I want to ask a question.
No. Wait. No, we're gonna allow Lowe to keep explaining Michael Jordan's failing while he's sitting here passing.
Chuck Daly looks on.
Well, Chuck Daly naturally very concerned. He's just hoping that the shooting slump is over.
Matter of fact, before I show you that, wait. Before I got to make sure I give you context because you Jordan fans need context. Right? That was after a timeout, but I'm about to show you on the first play is after a timeout. So if you're telling me the Chicago Bulls draw a play up for Michael Jordan to pass it to Bill Corzine or David Corzine,
that's not how basketball works. That's not
No. Don't tell me how basketball works. Don't tell me I watch basketball. I know how basketball works. I know how basketball works.
If a team, just before you play, if a team shows you something else defensively that you're not prepared for, then you would have to have a counter to what you may have originally drew up. I'm not going to just do what I drew up if the team defends me in a way that's preventing me from doing the thing that my coach drew up. If the play is meant for me to dump the ball into Shaq and for him to score, and the team double teams him going through with the post up just because that's what Phil Jackson drew up is dumb. If somebody's wide open,
Johnny,
just pass the ball to
I
him.
want to ask him some questions if that's okay. Lo, what are you trying to argue here? Because I think that's my first question. What is your argument here?
I think the argument I'm trying to figure out is, I'm trying to figure out what's the point of showing Jordan going up against teams that were schematically were set to defend him in a certain way, and labeling that as choking when almost everyone in NBA history, and I get maybe Ajani is specifically highlighting, and to be fair, this notion that the mythos that is Michael Jordan, that he's never had bad games. And I think that is a fair assessment to make. And to that, I think it's fair.
The point from my understanding is that
let him speak low. He is a GOAT James Kingdom member. Ishmael.
No, I was this close to finishing, but go ahead, you guys.
Okay, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
The only point, and the point I'm making is that, I think that's a fair assessment to make. However, also I don't think that showing games where Jordan is matching up against great defensive teams that defensively are scheming against him, I don't think that necessarily proves that, because the Pistons were one of the better defensive teams at that time.
Okay, well, all that stuff is added on extra context for things that's like
that's an excuse. He went for 38 points per game against them in 6 games in the regular season.
Yeah, and it's like, it's up to interpretation of what they had. Like they changed their way of guarding Jordan, from my understanding, until the playoffs. They started the scheme because from what Johnny explained is that they scored 38 points. And so whether if the Detroit Pistons were a great defensive team, all that stuff is just added context. The thing is that the point of it, from my understanding, is that a lot of people, especially from the mainstream media, have adopted to devaluing a player's abilities to choking if they underperform. And so in this instance, and I'm going to ask you with a question, Jordan underperformed. Whether the context is that, of course, teams change the way they guard and matchups, and they may have certain plans. Of course, that's sports. But he underperformed. So in this instance, what is a choke job? My question to you is, what do you think is a choke job? Does it need something subjectification in it, or do you have like is it subjective when in terms of like a definition of a choke job, or does it have to be is it something like you have a simple like definition of what a choke job is?
No, I think a lot of context is needed into how someone performs in a team that goes up against, how they scheme well against them. Again, you can go in like several, and if you are going up against a team that schematically speaking doesn't have the ability to defend you in a certain way, or you should have counters to what you're trying to do, then I don't think that if you underperform in that capacity, I think that's choking. But like LeBron performing poorly against the Spurs in 2007, that's not choking. Like they had the scheme and personnel to prevent him from doing things that he needed to do. Like that's
there just seems like added context to a lot of things that that's up to interpretation of what values as like good defense.
If you're favored to win and you have a poor performance for a series, that is lightweight choking. If I'm favored to win and I have a poor series versus the team that I'm supposed to beat, that is lightweight choking.
See, that sounds like
wait. My question to you is, Mac, why are we basing this off of the odds of gamblers?
I was say, did Lamont put the
no? First of all, I'm not looking at the odds of gamblers. Nobody's looking at the odds of Vegas.
Okay. My thing is that
wait. When you say favored, you're talking Vegas odds.
Bro, like we all have picked teams to win the finals. I'm not looking at Vegas to pick my team.
What Ajani did, at least.
The fact of the matter is that whatever you say, Mac, doesn't determine if somebody's favored or not. So whether you
exactly,
that's a casual take. You know who's the better team if you know basketball.
How do you measure that?
Hold on. So you're saying okay. So from looking at what we're looking at, you're trying to say in '88 that the Chicago Bulls were a better team than the Pistons.
No, that's not the point. The point is like, how do you measure that without like different type of
without Vegas?
No.
Can I?
Let's start because this is why I like to have one-on-ones.
Before we get, where's Lamont's link at? He said that he said he saw Chicago Tribune say that they were minus like 110 or something like that. Where is that link at?
Oh, he put you on the spot. Lowe's putting you on the spot. Lowe's say, where the link?
Where's the link
in the chat. Let's let Sturdy go. Shout out to Sturdy. He's a part of the FYF channel. Again, y'all know what we're doing best here in Goat James Kingdom. We have collaborated with FYF. We are both on both platforms tonight. It's the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We're talking basketball because this was a true basketball content show. So let's let Sturdy speak because Sturdy's a great basketball fan. What up, Sturdy?
Well, salute everybody. I'm just going to try to shotgun some of the questions that I heard that wasn't answered, right? MacDev, when Ajani asked you about the favorites, I would lean towards yes, because favorites are a good indicator of what the perception is from the consensus public. Even though it is done majority by Vegas, Vegas historically has been right for about 85% of the time. It's kind of high odds. And number two, that is a good indicator most of the time.
The house
for how the general public views the sport, basically, or that situation in the sport. Two, Lamont do have to drop that link because at least through my quick time of like watching the show, the Pistons was a slight favorite. Even want to do different time sets. There was a favorite going into the playoffs before any team made a single bounce in the playoffs. The Pistons were favorite, had a higher odds than the Bulls. And before that series started, the Pistons were a slight favorite. So that's number two. Number three, no, I don't like. I completely disagree with the notion that the Cavaliers are on the same. Depending on how you quantify it. I personally don't believe the Cavaliers of 1980 was the same level as the Pistons. No, I don't. No, even if you want to go by recent history, style of play, however you want to quantify it, no, they were not on the same level. Third thing, yes, the 1988 Pistons were contenders. Contending means how competitive you are and what position you can put your team to win the championship. That's typically what a contending is. So like, I'm not going to say because, like, for example, the 2018 Rockets lost to the Warriors and they never beat the Warriors. I'm not going to say they were never contenders. No, they were contenders. And another big indicator of a contending team is how well they do against teams that are perceived great for that season. So in the Pistons case, when McDev was alluding to the fact that the multiple years that Pistons kept making the series against the Boston Celtics more and more competitive, that is another indicator of how competitive a team is, hence the contending status. Last thing, I do agree with Lowe at this point. I think the branding of choking is too black and white. People just go by basic box scores, or people just go by ancillary moments.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
I didn't say you did it. I didn't say you did. Hey Johnny, I didn't say you did. I said people.
It is Friday night exposure with the exposer, and I've been wanting to talk about this for a very long time because these zesty Jeffries have been running from 1988. They love to talk about the MVP. They love to talk about Defensive Player of the Year. They love to talk 200 and 100. They love this, but when it's time to talk about how they have to be the team with one All-Star, no All-NBA player, no All-Defensive player on their roster, and a guy that's averaging 20 points per game that don't even like nobody on the team, that they traded the next year, and he was supposed to beat them and he didn't. Now that's a problem. I went and did my film search because I didn't just go watch. I didn't do the box watching. Because when I did see the box score and I saw 24, 23, and 25, I knew it was a choke. When I went to 1989 and I saw he scored 8 points in one game or something like that, in the second half he didn't take no shots, some silliness like that, right? I already saw the choke. And I remember 1990 because I remember watching my uncles and brother and them crying because the Bulls lost again. So Jordan choked 3 straight years versus the same team, same strategy with different rosters. Now, obviously, Rodman and what's it called got better throughout that span because the Rodman of 90 and the Dumars of 90 wasn't the Rodman of 88. They were actually better in 90. Dumars and them were actually better. They got better. Some of the other players got worse. But at the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls had a good roster, and Michael Jordan choked up against the Detroit Pistons, and that's the point.
No. I just put
I can see.
Just quickly, I put a link in the chat where it actually does give us sporting bets odds in 1980 from 88 onwards, and in 1988 it says that the Detroit Pistons were favored minus 240 against the Chicago Bulls.
That's not a favorite. That's an underdog.
Minus 240.
Minus is favored.
Minus is favored.
Look, when you say
they were 4-2 versus the Bulls in the season,
bro. Look, there's odds all over the place. The odds that I saw were 110. That's even money. That's not even a big of an odd. Again, the odds are going to be the odds. I expect the odds from the Chicago Tribune to heavily favor the Bulls, or maybe be slightly heads towards the Bulls, and I maybe expect ones from Vegas to probably be a little bit more even keel. It's still not the best indicator of who the better team was.
Oh, I agree.
That's why I agree.
We all agree.
We all agree.
We all know the Pistons. That's why. That's why.
No. I think
the thing is what Ajani is saying, and I think we all agree. We've asked for any type of link in reference to who.
Yeah, no, it's on my desktop. I'm gonna do it as soon as I get to my desktop. I'm gonna put the link in from the Chicago Tribune. I'm on my phone now. But what I'm saying is, what I'm glad is low, and I'm even glad that you found those odds. What I'm saying is this: it's not as big of a separator as people were claiming, because McDuff is saying that they were heavily favored. Minus 240 is not a heavy favorite. You're favored, but you're not a heavy favorite. Minus 110, You're not a heavy favorite. You're not even a heavy underdog. So when it's like, so if it would have said the Pistons were minus 900 or minus 750, okay, I get that. You're a significant underdog. But if it ain't nothing like that, even minus 375 would have been an indicator of a heavy underdog. But anything other than that, we're not talking about a series that where the Bulls were significantly outmatched. Yes, the Bulls were offensively challenged, but they still won 50 games because they were a defensive team. That was their MO. Defend it. Their MO wasn't to build around a whole bunch of guys scoring a whole bunch of points because Jordan had the ball the whole time. So I mean, I don't. The Pistons took advantage of Doug Collins' inability to coach.
Yeah.
He was just giving the ball to Jordan. They weren't running any real significant offense. He wouldn't even let Tex Winters sit on the bench. Tex Winters was trying to feed him the triangle offense early on. He wouldn't even allow Tex Winters to sit on the bench because he thought Tex Winters was trying to show him up. And so because Doug Collins was so hard headed, they had a stagnant, terrible looking offense that only revolved around Jordan chucking up shots and throwing bailout passes to others. So you put the blame where you want it, but at the end of the day, you guys are forgetting that. He's basically Ajani saying this is the standard of choking that Jordan fans have set. If you underperform from your averages, no, don't care about context. We don't care about all these other factors. If you don't play up to your numbers or better, then you choked. And if we go off that standard of the Jordan fans' logic, that by definition means Jordan choked.
Lamont, but we all understand. We all understand, like the casual Jordan fans, like the lowest totem pole, like basketball knowledge. Like we all understand that. That's why we trying to inform the people that the reason why a team is favored over a certain matchup because playoffs are matchup based is because of other factors that we said before: the regular season matchups, the coaching advantages, the health of that team during that time. So there's plenty of factors that go into it besides just a team record and media awards. That's why the main reason I came up with it.
Do y'all think Jordan choked in '88?
Hold on,
wait, hold on. I got to let Casual get in because Casual's been very patient. But before you get in, Casual, how are you gonna make a video about GOAT James Kingdom but don't tag us?
Wait, you wanted me to try to fight for your attention? I didn't want to.
Why would you make a video?
You want me to fight for your team?
Oh, wait a minute. Not fight. Why do you mean? Wait. Why? Because we don't do. We don't do reaction videos. And GOAT James Kingdom, if you see us, we never do reaction videos.
You don't, but I'm gonna make some content.
No, I got you. No, I understand that, but it would have been nice to tag us because guess what? That would help your content, right? Because you got like 100.
I mean, fair enough. I just didn't want. I'm not that big in this space of content creation. I'm sort of new to it, so I'm still, getting.
Okay, all right. Well, just let you know when you do something like that, right? Because I got a little bit more like that's like me right now. I'm going to tag Low on this. When I tag Low, it's going to help my channel.
That's funny.
So, but go ahead, Casual. What you got for us today?
Oh no! Originally, I was gonna come on because Low said something amongst the lines of like, shit, I forgot. Long story short, whatever I came on to debate him about, I'm back on you because why are you using these stats? Why are you being so weird that you're using stats to like manipulate the conversation? Like I understand that Michael Jordan fans been doing this for years. They have it coming. So I have no problem with that. My thing is at what point are y'all going to at what point is both sides going to start to have more of a genuine conversation? Like when are we going to get to that?
I'm listening. Hold on, wait. I'm glad that you said that, the Casual. Listen, I can answer this. This is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposures. You guys are all welcome to understand why GOAT James Kingdom exists. First of all, I'm a Miami Heat fan. I root for the Heat. I watch more Heat games than anything. Low will tell you, we talk about this all the time. I watch Eastern games because I live in the East. I don't really watch. I just started watching the Lakers play. I don't watch the Lakers play. They come on at 11 o'clock at night. They end at 2 a.m. for me. I don't be watching the Lakers play. But since I created this content because of this exact thing what you just stated, it's hard to talk the game of basketball until we rectify this GOAT debate. The GOAT debate has saturated the basketball world. And it's to the point where we can't have a normal conversation about anything. Because like I said, this whole thing about choking starts here. We don't need to have Luka sitting like this because people think Luka choked, because that's how the conversation has started. Because Michael Jordan created so many casual basketball fans, they believe what Michael Jordan did is the greatness of basketball. They don't realize there was a basketball before Michael Jordan and there's a basketball after Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was great. We always tell you that. Michael Jordan's in our top 5. We never argue that. But the Zesty Jeffries run around here and created an aura of basketball talk that we can't talk the game, even if we're not talking the GOAT debate. It's still going to be predicated around the GOAT debate because they have to create this mythology, this myth for Michael Jordan, when all we have to do is go watch him play or go look at the stats. Because like I told you, I didn't see this game. I thought Lamont posted nothing but regular season games. When I found out that this was a playoff game from 1988, I was like, oh, you guys don't understand what I'm about to do. I'm about to have an epic show because I was doing this 2 years ago. This is the infamous meltdown for Michael Jordan, okay? 1988. He was the league MVP, defensive player of the year, scoring champ, steals leader, all defensive team first team, all NBA first team, NBA all-star starter. Michael Jordan goes into the playoffs. He averages 45 points in the first round versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then he shows up against the Detroit Pistons, who only have one all-star, which is Isaiah Thomas. And what makes it even worse is that they win game 2 in Detroit. Michael Jordan scores 36 points. They go back to Chicago. Michael Jordan puts up 24 points in game 3, 23 points in game 4, and 25 points in game 5. Literally a meltdown. But they don't call that a meltdown because it's 24 points. But if Michael Jordan was averaging 36 points per game in the season, and he was averaging 36 points per game in the playoffs, because he was averaging 45 just the series before, and now he's only averaging 27 and giving you 20-something points per game, that's a meltdown. So the point of us is, as you can see, that was just me and my partner. That's Brandon. We are GOAT James Kingdom. We go live every Sunday, noon Eastern time. We talk basketball, but we like LeBron James. And because we like LeBron James, we get called LeBron sexuals. We can't be objective for some reason, even though we find every metrics to be as objective as possible to just talk the game. Lamont has Jordan as the GOAT. Lowe has Jordan as the GOAT. I mean, we have two guys that show up on our show every day, which is Travis and Craig. And we used to have Ralph Alexander. Shout out to Ralph Alexander on TikTok. They were Jordan fans. We created a platform where you can have Jordan fans and Michael Jordan fans who are real basketball fans talk the game without all the zesty Jeffrey. Lowe knows what I'm talking about. Lowe's been doing this for a long time. So has Lamont. He knows how saturated the basketball world is with the GOAT debate. And it's because zesty Jeffries, who are the true casuals of basketball, believe that they can continue to lie about Michael Jordan, just like Brandon Cash, just like Malachi down here in the bottom. He's not even a Michael Jordan fan, but he hates LeBron so much he's gonna continue the lies about Michael Jordan. Malachi, go ahead and represent Michael Jordan.
Everything he said is true. Everything he said is true as well. Everything that he just said is true.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Malachi. Come and defend Michael Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another Michael Jordan police, ladies and gentlemen. They're here to do their job. Shout out to
Tell Mom I'm on official police business. Special Officer Dookie reporting. Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law. Hey, no talking to the witness.
What do you got for us, Malachi?
I just want to, let me just say.
I honestly cannot believe that you land on Michael Jordan like that, bro. What you mean fake stats, man? Like you willing to cover all, like you willing to look at old film of like MJ's so-called fake steals, but you won't look up LeBron's flopping, LeBron's all-time leader in turnovers. You won't look at his whining and complaining on the court. Like why won't you look up that?
Is it fake steals though?
Oh, wait, no. Why would I do that when there's enough zesty Jeffries like you to do it? I'll let you do your job. Why you want me to do your job for you?
I'm not even a Michael Jordan fan, though.
I know you're not. You're an MJ police. We already explained that to you. You are the MJ police. We already knew this. This is nothing new.
Well, fuck about no police. Then I don't give a fuck about no police now. Shit. You know what? You can do whatever you want to do. So it don't mean nothing to me for you to show up tomorrow morning with your head blown off. You understand what I'm saying?
Nothing to me, bro. I'll see you Sunday,
Bro,
man.
look, bro. LeBron is 4-6 in the finals, bro.
Get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck
Yeah, I don't know where to go. Yeah, I don't even know.
All right, that's a casual take. I see what y'all saying about Jordan fans now. That's wild.
No, and he's not. To Lowe's point, nothing that you said do I disagree with. My thing is, I feel like is filtering into other basketball conversation that you have. For instance, the one that I reacted to, where you got to talking about Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert. If you think Rudy Gobert is better defensively because of his rim protection primarily, well, it would have to be the main thing that you value to put him over Anthony Davis. I have no problem with that. The thing is, you gauged it off of defensive rating for multiple years, which like it's not an individual. You didn't do it the individual defensive
Is
rating.
that what you did? Oh,
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
didn't.
No, and I
He
have
said.
the images in my video to point it out
This
as
is
well.
why. Listen,
I
this
have
is
the images to point it out as well.
No, you are lying. The conversation was talking about who was a better player. Now, Lo, you see what I'm saying, Lo? This is why Go James Kingdom had to say, I can't have an opinion. I can't have my own take. I can't say that I think Rudy Gobert is a better defender than Anthony Davis. Although I said that Anthony Davis is an elite shot blocker. He's great at protecting the rim. I said all of this. I said,
But what else did you say? What else did you
I
say?
said he doesn't protect the rim.
No, you didn't say that.
I said he doesn't protect the perimeter as well. He doesn't help his team defense, and it shows by how his team. I didn't bring up team.
Who doesn't
That's what he said.
defend the perimeter?
He
Wait,
said he
maybe I
doesn't defend the
misheard what he's saying.
Okay, again, the conversation was predicated on defensive big men. I put Wemby, Bam, and Rudy Gobert ahead of Anthony Davis. And because I believe from what I see with my eyes and what I've been watching and I've been paying attention to, I said it. Everything I say is recorded, nigga.
Let him. He's getting there. He's getting there. He's getting there.
I made a video of you saying it, so I know you were.
Shut up, bitch. Sit your ass down.
Bruh, you gotta let me speak. This is my show, bruh. You gotta let me speak. I did not say anything that you're lying about. Everything is available for you guys. Go back to last Friday night exposure, and you will hear me talking about Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert. It is available for you on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, check out our GOAT James Kingdom membership. Also available on FYF Sports Debate. Friday night exposure is not going nowhere. Ajani the Exposer is not going nowhere. All I will continue to do is expose Zesty Jeffries. I am entitled to say that Anthony Davis is not better than the guys that I'm saying because I believe those guys do better and more on the defensive side of the floor than Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is an elite shot blocker. He's an elite rim protector. He roams. That's like when Jordan was roaming to get steals. That makes your team defense a more of a liability. Someone like Bam and Rudy Gobert and Wemby can help the liabilities of perimeter defenders because of the way they defend in the perimeter and their ability to do other than just protect the actual rim. So yes,
what's
Anthony
on the
Davis.
screen right now? What's on the screen right now?
This is the Michael Jordan dugout, 94
okay.
dugout.
You purposely did that. Okay, I thought you.
Yeah. I put people to sit next to Michael Jordan when they don't allow me to speak and they want to lie on my name. I don't allow people to lie on my name. Look, we've had great conversations and talking basketball. These guys want to fight and argue on the internet all day long, and all they end up doing is getting exposed. So, Mr. Casual, you have now been exposed by the exposer. Let's get back to the regular schedule.
I want to argue.
Yes, because you said that I said something I didn't say.
If you would let me finish, I'll be able to.
I did let you finish. You didn't let me.
You obviously haven't because you keep cutting me off.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, Lo. What Ajani said was that one, most of these people, is just NBA fans in general, have not watched Utah or Minnesota games in its totality for them to even grasp how impactful Rudy Gobert is. And I agree with that. He also said that when it comes to Rudy Gobert, he is able to, one, rim protect. He also can cover the perimeter better than Anthony Davis, and he makes all of his teammates better because of how much ground he can cover. He also said Bam Adebayo is better than Anthony Davis defensively.
Most definitely.
Yes, because he's able to make players like Tyler Hero, Max Strus, and Duncan Robinson look better defensively, even though Duncan Robinson got benched because of how bad defensively he was looking. He also said, I can continue on. Ajani, you can cut me off at any point if I'm mistaken. Anything.
Go ahead. No, you just go ahead. Continue.
He also said, when it comes to Anthony Davis, LeBron James statistically is a better rim protector than him, which I did the homework of looking over the last 4 or 5 years because that's what he said. He's factually incorrect.
Okay. What numbers were those you went to go look up?
I would love to display it for you.
Nah, Lo, go ahead. You can respond.
I'm not mad at the tape.
I think AD's better than Bam because I feel like he's a better rim protector. But I do think that Gobert's a rim protection and his value of that, supersedes a lot of what he may lack. But he's definitely not a better perimeter defender than AD. I don't. That's kind of crazy. That's a.
I mean, from what I can see, yes. Now, hold on. Now, mind you, Lo, I can say whatever the fuck I want to say, right? Because that's what Zesty Jeffries do. That's what the basketball talk is, right? Because what's supposedly stats don't matter. I throw defensive rating out there. You're going to make fun of defensive rating, right? So I brought up the idea of how Rudy Gobert, no matter where he goes, the team defense gets better because he, again, showed me somebody who's a great interior defender that doesn't impact their team total defense. All the great interior defenders do it, from Tim Duncan to Hakeem Olajuwon, across the board. They make it easier across the board. As great as Anthony Davis is, he never makes the Lakers a good defensive team, and he never helps supplement their liabilities. And that's what I was talking about. And you know this, though, because you're a Laker fan. You watch the Laker games.
But as great
as great of as a steal guy as Jordan was, him roaming and gambling on steals affected his team defenses. Right, and it's the same thing with Anthony Davis. Him roaming to the block shots sometimes affect how they can play defense in their rotations. So yes, he's great at protecting the rim. I would probably say it's only him and Rudy Gobert. And obviously win, because I would agree with you. He's better than Bam there, but I think Bam is just better overall. That's why he can run such things like the zone defense that they run, because Bam could cover so much space. Same thing with Rudy. Rudy's not that great on the perimeter, and it's not like Anthony Davis is bad in the perimeter. I just don't think he's better than those guys. That's my opinion. I had stats.
That is one of the worst opinions I've heard.
Yes, but he.
Can I say something? This is real quick.
We can go back to that thing, but that's a.
This real quick. Because hey Johnny, because like I try to be fair with you, brother. That's why I've been sending you multiple film of AD crumbling the perimeter. Matter of fact, this year when the Lakers were.
30, you've been.
No.
I can show you highlights of LeBron hitting mid-range.
No. I'm talking about.
That ain't real, right?
No.
You've been trying to say.
Hey Johnny. Hey Johnny. I'm talking about film. I'm talking about if you go back and rewatch that in-season tournament game when the Lakers were going against the best offense at that time in the Pacers. AD was not only the spearhead of that, but also he was the main reason why the Pacers offense so stagnant. It was to points and stretches of the game. They tried to avoid AD completely because he was able to do a multitude of things.
But am I wrong for putting him in? He's still top 5 big men.
Oh, by the way.
No.
I didn't say he's a horrible defender. I just said
no. Hey, Johnny. In my opinion, real quick. I just want to land it right here, class. Okay. You were wrong when you said Rudy Gobert is a better defender because he's better on the perimeter than AD. He is not better on the perimeter than AD, Johnny. He's not.
That's wild.
He's not.
Listen, from the games that I've been seeing from Rudy Gobert, man, Rudy Gobert, again, I know everybody's going to go back to that Luka game and what Luka did against that. But that's Luka. But again, listen, the reason Anthony Davis, Wemby, and Rudy Gobert.
You can get cooked on this too.
Oh, wait. Listen, the reason those guys, and maybe you guys would agree with me, we're all basketball fans here. The reason those guys are able to play in the perimeter in general is because, one, they are a little bit quick with their feet, but they're also lengthy men. So they're able to give the space that some guys couldn't. But like someone like a Bam who doesn't have that thing, who had that length, he gets up close, but he can still guard them. That's what happens. Well, I've watched Anthony Davis go up against guards where if he has to get close, that you understand what I'm saying? They go past him, and then when
that didn't occur though. That hasn't occurred.
I'm not saying it hasn't occurred, but there's
Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is the perfect instance of it because you're giving him that space to get to that mid-range.
But there's also instances where he's blocking Jamal Murray's shot.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I want to be clear. If you want to say Bam is a better perimeter defender, I'm not.
I have no problem with that.
But it's really just Bam and AD, and furthermore, AD has whole series where he shuts down a perimeter defender. He did that against Curry, not this past postseason run, the year before.
Hey.
No, Mac Def. No, Mac
Def. You could have went to the bubble. You could have went to the bubble. Yeah.
He could have went to the boat.
So I sent you the image to your Discord personally.
You can actually do it here. If
Can
you
I?
check,
Well, I'm on my.
Are you on your computer? Are you your computer?
Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. I'm on my phone.
Who's got more impact on defense, Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis?
But
I don't mind saying Rudy Gobert does. I don't mind saying Rudy Gobert.
I think Rudy Gobert.
That's my point, Lo. Right? Because the Rudy Gobert, he goes from Utah.
We're gonna change this Curry
He
subject.
makes them better, right? And Anthony Davis, when has Anthony Davis made the Lakers a top defense? This top 10.
And see, that's where he loses me, Lo, because this is the second part that I was going to say. The worst part about the part that made me have to make a video about it wasn't the fact that you think Rudy Gobert is better than Anthony Davis because of his impact translating from Utah to Minnesota. It was the fact that you said not only that they're better than him, but that Anthony Davis is a liability defensively. And y'all say what y'all want to say, but statistically, LeBron James is
Johnny, bro. Hey, Johnny, bro.
Because of you, Justin Jeffries, I am forced
to. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
Don't blame that on Jordan fans.
Hey, Johnny, let's be fair. Hold on, y'all. Let's be fair.
I hate watching Lakers. I hate being up at 2 o'clock in the morning because LeBron James and Anthony Davis are struggling to beat the Clippers or whatever team is out there that they can't beat tonight. It's horrible.
Okay.
And Anthony Davis,
let's hold on.
Great defensively. Jamal Murray ain't making that damn shot.
But he's the primary source of why they're staying.
They singled him out. They said, "Yo, we're gonna do all these things, and Anthony Davis will switch, and I'm gonna get to this spot, and I'm gonna hit this shot, and Anthony Davis gonna fall into the crowd, and everybody gonna be mad because Anthony Davis."
How would y'all rank those four defenders?
Hold on. Wait, back there, real quick. Hey, Johnny, let's take it one step at a time. What do you consider a liability defensively?
From AD. Yeah,
No.
From AD.
I'm judging him as a big man. So as a big man, your job is to help the perimeter player. Remember we were talking about how with the illegal defense you don't have that backside help, so it's harder to play up close to somebody unless you're really good defensively. You kind of got to give them that space because if they go around you, there's no help. That's it. Well, that's what that big man is. That's what Anthony Davis is. Because again, when you go to the rim, you were like, "Oh, where's Anthony Davis?" Because he's going to block your shot. But on the perimeter, I can roam around and do whatever I want because D'Lo's not good. Reeves is not good. The guys that they got out there are not really good. So Anthony Davis doesn't help those guys be better defenders so that they can play closer and play things because his job is just basically roaming and wait till you get to the rim. But by that time, I got you. I mean,
no, it's not. No, y'all. Hey, y'all. Y'all. Hey, Johnny. Hey, you see, the thing is, and this is why I think y'all are wrong. Hey, Johnny told you what his criteria was. His criteria is his criteria on this. And it's actually fair criteria because I did a whole video 2 years ago about Rudy Gobert completely saving the Utah Jazz with horrendous perimeter defenders and Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell out there just completely getting blown by possession after possession. And Rudy Gobert is the only saving grace out there. And he's right about Rudy Gobert coming to Minnesota and really, really single-handedly making a lot of guys out there look better defensively than what they are because he has I call him a mistake eraser. He might not be as good at what I call a rim protector as AD, but he's a better mistake eraser than AD. And so when you look at his criteria for why he says Rudy Gobert is the better, if you look at the film, what he's saying is kind of true because when you look at the problems the Lakers were having this year, AD could not make Bron better. He could not make Rui Hachimura better. He could not make D'Lo. He was just out there playing good D on his own by himself. But as a defender, he wasn't doing anything, having that like Draymond Green effect where somehow you can make the other defenders around you better. He's right about that.
And no one's arguing that he's a better.
But what I'm saying is, that's his criteria for why he says he feels Rudy Gobert is better.
No one's arguing.
We're arguing.
No one's arguing. No one's arguing.
He said a liability in perimeter.
We're saying liability in perimeter defense. That's what we're on. Perimeter
Okay,
defense is a liability.
Wait. Let me clarify. He is a liability because, for one, he himself is not that great on the perimeter, and he doesn't make the other perimeter players better.
And that's where we at. That's where we at, Lamont.
That's where we're at.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I still think y'all really trying to reach for something right here.
No.
I think y'all really reaching.
What?
Nah.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Lamont, who's a better perimeter defender, Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis?
I would say Anthony Davis.
Okay, that's where we're at. That's their issue.
But hold on. But the thing is, one person can be better at one particular thing, but Rudy still has a better impact on the perimeter defense than AD. So hold on. So what I'm saying is, what y'all doing is y'all trying to argue your criteria to prove why he's wrong, as opposed to using his criteria to prove why he's wrong.
Rudy Gobert's a better defender. We've all said that. We all said that he's a better
No, they
defender.
didn't. That's the whole point. That's why casual.
Hey, let's ask. H30, who's a better defender, Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis?
Rudy.
Matt.
Oh, y'all were not saying that before. Y'all lying now.
Mike Def. I mean, don't do that. Lamont.
This is wild. That is nasty.
I was on a Rudy Gobert defending season, bro. Don't hit that with me.
That nigga said.
Don't with me. Like, get out with that, bro. Get out with that. I was defending Rudy Gobert all season.
Mac Def, who's a better defender, Rudy Gobert or more impactful? However we framing it, Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis?
Look, bro. I think Rudy Gobert team-wise is impactfully, but give me Anthony Davis.
Okay.
Period.
So that's Mac Def, casual. Who's a better defender? Or more impactful, however we're framing it, Rudy Gobert or Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis is the better defender. Rudy Gobert is the more impactful defender.
Boy, y'all are adding some nasty layers.
No, I'm taking Anthony Davis. I'm saying
Hold on, Johnny.
Let Ishmael go quick.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know because I don't watch Rudy Gobert, to be honest with you. But I understand Ajani's point is that Ajani was saying that Rudy Gobert helps his team in team defense. He impacts on team defense, which makes he was saying that Anthony Davis doesn't do that. I'm just gonna be. I don't know because I don't watch Rudy Gobert. I watch.
He didn't say he doesn't do it. He said it's not the same. He said one has bigger impact than the other.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and he's saying that Rudy Gobert helps his team out impactful on team defense more than Anthony Davis. So I get it.
Let me ask you this, Lo. If Rudy Gobert was on the Lakers instead of Anthony Davis, would they be better defensively?
In the regular season, yes, I think, but they're more susceptible to matchups in the postseason.
Okay, so let me jump to this because I'm a Heat fan. I want to see what you say about this one. If Bam was on the Lakers instead of Anthony Davis, are they a better team defensively?
No, who's coaching? Because if Darvin Ham's coaching, hey, but this is the point I want to make though, because a lot of it is schematically. Because when Frank Vogel was coaching, we were a much better defensive team, and AD was still there. And this was even beyond the bubble.
You had better defenders as well, though. You had KCP, you had Dwight Howard, No,
beyond the bubble. No, even beyond the bubble.
And don't forget, you had the most important player the Lakers had was Jared Dudley.
Okay. Even beyond the bubble, when AD and LeBron were dealing with injuries and Dwight wasn't there anymore,
we 21.
Were still, 21. We were like the number one ranked defense. So a lot of this stuff, it is schematically. Like part of the reason why Anthony Davis, like the team defense, you're correct. The way that Rudy Gobert, especially when he was in Utah, they just funneled a lot of what they did into Rudy Gobert, or once they got beat by Rudy Gobert, they were willing to concede a lot of mid-range jump shots and just prevent them getting to the basket. And that right there does tank a lot of teams' offenses, especially in the regular season. And because of that, it's why rim protection will always reign supreme.
Yes.
Defensive impact. So I don't
that's why everybody considers it the most important.
So, but then if you're going up against a series like the Warriors, like we did not this past season, the year before that, where Curry can have moments where he's like raining threes and you have to contain that. Rudy Gobert is not going to be able to step out on the perimeter and defend Curry like that the same way that Anthony Davis can to prevent that. So, yes, in the regular season against most teams, it's going to be much more impactful because most teams have a more systematic and systemic offense that caters to either attacking the basket or three-point shooting, which you can cater an offensive or defensive scheme to at least eliminate the most highest and valuable shot in the league, which is at the basket, which Rudy Gobert does better than literally anyone in the NBA.
Anybody in the NBA.
I'm not even denying that. But in terms of and if you want to say he's a better defender, I'm fine with that as well. I had Wemby and then Rudy Gobert is my DPOY. But to say that specifically on the perimeter and specifically highlighting it as a big on the perimeter, Anthony Davis, outside of Bam, I don't even think there's a better option.
Bam is the man. I love Bam. I love, you know,
No, and like I said, either Bam or
Yeah.
AD. I think those are the only two options. But knowing how Darvin Ham coaches, there's no real defensive scheme that Darvin Ham actually coaches outside of, because even when we had personnel out there, we still weren't able to leverage ourselves to be anywhere close to be a number one ranked defense, even when we went more defensive leaning in contrast to every other lineup that we had. A lot of what happened over the past 2 years is
y'all playing great defense. Y'all playing great defense in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
No.
And to be fair,
go ahead, casual. Yeah, go ahead, casual, because I want to ask you a question. Go ahead, casual.
Yeah, and to be fair, even with Lowe saying that AD and Bam are the first options you would look to guard on the perimeter as bigs, Rudy Gobert isn't a bad option. Like, he's actually progressively gotten better, more comfortably being on the perimeter. It's just, you know, naturally like a 7'1" player guarding some of the best offensive players we've ever seen. Like, it's not going to end well. So I didn't make the video primarily about that. It was about the fact that you went so far on the extreme of the spectrum, saying that he's a liability defensively. That's where the video came about.
Okay, so now my question to you is, right? So I just see what you showed here. I just looked what you sent me on Discord. So shout out to you. Y'all make sure to check out the casual. Go ahead and plug your channel in right quick. The casual.
Vanity Sports Debates. We go live every Sunday. Backyard Blitz and the Hoops podcast. And we're trying to do videos every 2 weeks.
Vanity Sports, correct?
Yes, sir.
Vanity Sports, y'all make sure to check them out. Now, let me ask you this. As a basketball fan, am I allowed to have an opinion, even though you might think it's a little extreme?
No, you're allowed to have an opinion. I hope you watch the video. Look, I hope you watch the video. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, if you have, my whole thing was you can have your opinion. I don't care about the opinion. Even with the LeBron and Michael Jordan thing, I don't have a problem with you with the things you say, because one, Michael Jordan fans have it coming to him, and then two, LeBron James is my GOAT as well. So a lot of the things you say are factual. My thing is misconstruing the stats to benefit your argument solely.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Without pointing out the flaws in with those stats.
Okay, now you use stats. You sent me some stats. Wait, hold on, wait. Let me get this issue out for a second. Let me just get, because the stats that you sent me it says here, advanced defensive metrics. So you're using advanced defensive metrics. It says LeBron James, Anthony Davis. It says frequency percentage. So I guess that's the amount of shots that they contested,
the amount of time that they're
involved in a defensive scheme. So LeBron was at 38.3%. Anthony Davis had 39.99%, so just under 40%. Now, field goal attempts, I guess that's field goal attempt game. LeBron dealt with 4.4.
How many times that they tried to contest him at the rim?
Anthony Davis is at, I don't know if that's what I'm saying, because this is not at the rim, because that's what I was going to tell you. If you go look at within 5 feet of the rim and contesting the shots, LeBron James is up there. And how many years did I say? Because you did use 2019
to 2024. You said 4 or 5 years. So I just went
4 or 5 years. So I should have said since 2021, more than likely, because Anthony Davis is actually, like I said, he's always been a great rim protector. Nobody's taking that away from him. But LeBron also is up there, because, again, the defensive rating for Anthony Davis, the defensive field goal percentage for Anthony that you have here is 55.65. So that's 55.7 field goal percentage. LeBron's at 59.6 or 59.1. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So it's not that far off.
And also to add, I said it in the video, a lot of those stats are weighed heavily with that 2020 season, because I weighted regular season and postseason. And in that postseason, having Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee and Anthony Davis, sort of like that trio of doom.
Yeah, they were good.
Bubble, it can boost those, you know what I'm saying? It can boost those stats up to like unbelievable heights. So that carried a lot of both LeBron and AD stats.
Y'all do realize there's an actual metric for defending at the rim. Y'all knew
it's 5 feet, right? It's 5 feet, right? The 5 feet one.
On NBA.com they specifically have
that, and that's what I did. That's what I used.
I know the one that you're looking up. The one that I looked up, Lolo, is what you're looking up was within 5 feet. So I want to make sure it was at the rim. That's why I did it. So there was the one that I looked up was defensive rating, defensive field goal percentage at within 5 feet of the rim.
I don't know, but like there's an actual like the field goals defended at rim attempts and like this
they have that.
Season, this past season, at the rim, yeah.
And the closest I could get, was,
what's the number? What was the number?
No. What's it? 80 this year he defended 7.4 attempts at the rim. LeBron only defended 2.9. AD's holding his opponents at the rim at 54%. LeBron is 67%.
Okay, so this year the AD was way better than LeBron by far. Okay,
well, I mean, yeah, but
here I'll put the
put the link in the chat. Like, we're about to actually get up out of here because I got to get
unlike Lamont, I'm actually gonna put the links in the chat.
So listen, ladies and gentlemen, listen, casual. Listen, casual. You are a true MJ police because you got us not talking about MJ's choking season. So you officially locked up.
And you know what?
You officially locked me up.
Yeah, we ran away from that.
Income.
Cuba, what do you say to your fans?
I apologize, fellas, for doing that.
No, because it wasn't a choke. That's why. We got
No, it's all right. This one, listen, that's what
Ajani's doing. I see what Ajani's doing.
The reason why, again, like what I also said while using that stat was that's further evidence on why stats shouldn't be the be all end all of the conversation. It shouldn't just totally be eye test, but especially when you get to talking about these stats outside of the MJ and LeBron thing, because obviously y'all got your own little thing. You can't misconstrue those stats and just leave it at that. Like, you have to continue that conversation.
I agree with Ajani. I agree with Ajani.
Listen, I use the stats to let you understand what I'm talking about. See, the problem is that people use stats to state their claim. I don't do that. I state my claim and then I back it up with stats. There's a difference. That's what I do. Again, the stats are very, very important. That's why Michael Jordan fake steals are very, very important. It's very egregious.
I agree.
Very, very egregious. We all know we're all using stats. First thing Low went to was NBA.com statistics. Because he knows how important. And again, if you can see the game, you can see the stats. I didn't argue with Low. 67% is way worse than 54. That means Anthony Davis was way better than LeBron James at the rim.
Y'all saw Bronny got fake steals in summer league just aside. I'm actually not even lying. He actually does that.
Wow. How does the summer league count? I've never seen the summer league count ever. They say the regular season don't count. How does summer league count? But we're gonna
have to prove that. I didn't see that.
We're gonna get
you don't have to prove it. I never saw. I didn't see.
Yeah, but you got to realize that in the summer league, everybody working. The books from the refs are all training, so they're prone to mistakes because they're trying. So we're not talking about the pros.
They're cooking the books.
Game 3, he has 2 steals. One of them, Armel Traore got the steal, not Bronny.
Them refs have been horrible.
What play was that?
It's been terrible.
This is why they love you, Low, because Low always calling out the LeBron James fans, LeBron James sexual. Shout out to A Courage One. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. All facts on GOAT James Kingdom. LBJ's the GOAT. Thanks for exposing these SD Jeffries. That's right. You have now been exposed by the exposer. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of the night show. I want to thank all you gentlemen. Thanks to Sturdy. Thank you, Lamont. Thank you, Ishmael, which is a GOAT James Kingdom member. Thank you, Mac Def, for holding it down for the Zesty Jeffries. Low, you're not a Zesty Jeffrey, but you have MJ as the GOAT, but you're still cool with me. Shout out to you. Go ahead and plug your channel and whatever you do on your show, sir. All the stuff that you do, all your playback stuff. Go ahead and plug yourself.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'll be streaming on playback almost every day. Except for in the off season, not so much in the off season, but we watching all the Olympic games, all the Bronny James Summer League games. Might have to start watching a lot more Houston Rockets games as well in the Summer League because they definitely got a team out there. And then the Low Post, Foot on the Line, and Legend of Winning. Go check me out all those. And now that I know what this whole thing is about, I agree with Ajani. Yeah, Michael Jordan and that 90s propaganda has produced way more casuals than anything else.
It was good for the sport, though. I mean, it grew the game.
No, it was amazing for the sport.
It grew the game. I'm never going to take that away from Jordan, but a lot of them, the problem with them is that they only watch because of Michael Jordan. Yes. And what saved them was they had Kobe. A lot of them only saw Kobe play. They never even saw Michael Jordan play. So that's another issue on top of that. You and I have probably seen more Michael Jordan games than those Zesty Jeffries.
I believe so as well.
All right, hey, Casual, any last words? And make sure you plug in your channel again, brother.
Nothing. Just please check out my video. Vanity Sports Debates. We go live every Sunday. Backyard Blitz Hoopers Podcast. We go live at 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, man. Appreciate you for letting me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Next time, make sure you tag me because I'm letting you know right now, Lo, I'm tagging the shit out of you. You're gonna be tagging all over the place for today's show.
It's fine.
So thank you again, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys. Y'all know this is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. You guys have all been great. I appreciate you as I was able to expose these zesty Jeffries for lying about the game of basketball. This is what I do best. I'm Ajani the Exposer. I go live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform, also on the FYF Sports Debate. So y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. Make sure you go ahead and check us out. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, IG, TikTok, Twitter, Discord. We are all over the place. We are the GOAT James Kingdom platform. I'm Ajani the Exposer. I go live every Friday night to do this right here, just to expose Zesty Jeffries, because they don't let me watch the game of basketball. I can't be a Heat fan. I can't enjoy the game. I can't even say Bam is better than AD because we get these people upset at me. So this is what we have here when we talk about that. But we are the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Y'all make sure to check us out Sunday noon Eastern time as we do the GOAT James Kingdom show with B. Lee and Ajani. Y'all subscribe to the channel, hit that ring bell so that you can get the notification for every time we drop a post. Check out our GOAT James Kingdom members. People like Ace 30, people like Ishmael Travis can tell you what we do for our members. We take care of our members. We do it best here in GOAT James Kingdom. I see everybody here in the comments. You guys have always been great. Thank you for everyone that showed up. And again, this is the GOAT James Kingdom platform. We will continue to do what we do best, which is expose all you zesty Jeffries. Check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership. It is available to you right on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Again, y'all, I'm Ajani the Exposer. You have now been exposed by the Exposer. If you're a basketball fan and you're tired of basketball shows that talk about fake narratives and using non-basketball terms like killer instinct, playoff translation, gravity, come to GOAT James Kingdom.